Hello, good evening, and welcome. You're through to the Inview, a weekly Sunday show where we have all sorts of guests from all sorts of walks of life. How are you all out there? Or vanish, as Danielle would say. I hope you're well out there tonight, and it's fantastic to have you all on board. And thanks for. I know it's difficult. It's a difficult transition when we go from one medium to another. So we gone from Facebook Live onto here, and I know the subscribing's going up. Thank you very much for that as well. We are now sitting at 25 subscription people on this channel. It's free to join, free to subscribe, and every time I'm on, you'll get a notification that Clint Denny is live now, and you'll think, "Oh my God, I'm not tuning into him." No, the show is very much about a reality check, and I always start the program off with news of the week and stuff like that, and then we have guests throughout the show all evening tonight, an absolute enormous array of guests we have too. And looking at the guest list we have, I'm going to bring it up right now. The guest list tonight is, we start off tonight with an amazing guest. We have Patricia DeAngelis, and she is speaking to us all over from all the way over in Sydney in Australia. She's a meditation teacher, healer, empath, and spiritual counselor, intuitive guidance, and she gives insight into spiritual identity and dark night of the soul. She's a lovely lady. She's been on the show loads of times. You got to bear in mind, we give her a big round of applause every time she comes on, not because she's from the NHS, but because it's very early over there, or very late. I can't remember one or the other. I think it's very early in the morning. So she's on at 7:20 tonight. Always great to speak to Patricia. Very uplifting, very interesting lady. 7:50 tonight, we have Helen Kernell, who is a light worker, helpful and kind, committed to helping people. And she has an amazing story, and she's very upbeat, very positive, and that's what we like. And I'm just reading something that's flashed up on my screen in news. It's near. I'm trying not to laugh at, actually, but it says that the CV now men's testicles can make them more vulnerable. Oh dear, oh dear. And then 8:20. So we've got Helen Kernell at 7:50, and then we've got 8:20 tonight. We've got Robert Luther Smith. He's been on many times before. He's a very famous musician. He's a composer, artist, and he's toured with some of the big bands like Hot Chocolate, Culture Club, Spandau Ballet, Imagination. Very nice guy, and he's got a lovely, lovely mum he talks about in that as well. That's 8:20 tonight. 8:50 tonight, we've got Mario Morris, who was going to be on a few weeks ago, but he's on tonight. And he's a magician, entertainer, and empower of audiences, and founder of the School of Busking and life coach. So it'd be great to have him on. And then we've got at 9:20 tonight, a man of mystery. We don't know who he is. So, and going back to our show on Thursday, looking at the feedback for that show and that as well. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone that rang in and put comments in, because it is your show. The Thursday night show is open for everyone to call, anyone to call. And this week's show, we're going to be posing a lot of questions that I want people to come in, because I sit here and speak for ages, and I probably say the things you want to say. I want you to say them to me. So I'm going to pose a lot of questions before that show on Thursday. But something we are going to look at away from CV is on Thursday night. We're going to look at the spiritual process of passing over and what happens to a soul and death itself. I spoke about this a few times and said we're going to do a show on it. So we're going to talk about what happens when we pass over. There's so many people. That's a great shame, I know, in today's world, that have passed over with this virus and ordinary flu and many other things that I'm going to talk about in a minute. But you know, it is very much about what does happen. What I want your input on that on Thursday night. What happens and why? You know, and people that are scared of getting older and dying. I want to know your views on that on Thursday night. So as I said before, Patricia DeAngelis live from Sydney on at 7:20. Helen Kernell on at 7:50. Robert Luther Smith on 8:20, and the amazing Mario Morris on 8:50, and a man of mystery on at 9:20 tonight. Wow. I don't know about you, but this coronavirus thing is just, yeah, isn't it? It's just getting too much, to be honest. And, you know, the flaws and the things that are seen, there's so many people that are posting stuff on social media. Not forget about all the real conspiracy sort of stuff, but the mistakes. I mean, I plaster loads of stuff over my Facebook wall that I want people to look at, to engage with, to see that there's a hole there. There's a hole there. I mean, why? Why am I still going to say to you 2 months down the line that people haven't got PPE? I'm lost for words. They haven't got PPE, and you know, they say today we're going to have 8,700 tons or whatever turn up of aprons and all sorts of stuff. Well, why have we got such a shortage of PPE? You know, it's ridiculous. On the show on Thursday, my cousin bro Jason was on, and he said even he wears PPE now. He's a MOT fitter, but you know, he had to lend some face masks to his partner, who works for caring for elderly people in their homes, and she didn't have any. It's a disgrace. This government is incompetent. We should be up in arms. They should be strung up. It's disgusting. And loads of people saying, "Where's Boris?" Well, we know that Boris was very, very ill. Apparently, allegedly, he's in hospital for 3 days. In intensive care for 3 days, 4 days, or whatever. And he came out. You know, Kate Garraway's husband is still there, still in hospital from middle of March, still in critical condition. There's a lot of question marks over Boris, and the question marks over the validity of leadership, to be honest, because I really feel that he is not a leader of people. He runs away when there's an issue and a problem, and I do feel very strongly that this man does not like any form of confrontation, none whatsoever. Apparently he's come back next week, and all will be well in the world. I do feel there's going to be some fall guys here, because obviously Matt Hancock has already pledged that by the end of this month we're going to be testing 100,000 people. Well, good luck with that one, is what I say, because they're only testing 14, 15,000 now a day. So in a week and a half's time, they got to test another 75,000. Well, 85,000 even. I don't think it's going to happen. And I think we, the people, should look at these people with contempt, because they're there to give us guidance. If we're on a boat with these people and they're piloting the boat, we all want to get off pretty quick, to be honest, or there'll be a mutiny. I just want to bring up a couple of comments that was mentioned Thursday night that wasn't mentioned on the show afterwards, because on the show itself, anyone can call in, they can message me, or they can Facebook message me, WhatsApp, or whatever. Viv messaged on the Thursday night that a brilliant show tonight, Clint. What about the care homes? I feel for the elderly so much. They should not be taking their pensions at the moment to pay for their stays. In this minority, they are robbing them, taking anything they can for their care. They should have free care forever. They deserve it. I totally agree with you. You know, not going into great detail, but I have real first-hand knowledge of this, because my father, unfortunately, got Alzheimer's and dementia. And he was comfortable, and he, you know, went into a home. And when he went into a home, I had to, you know, he had to pay, and eventually it's power of attorney. I had to pay, and all sorts through his funding. And you're looking at an extortionate amount of money. You're looking at like 1,500, 1,800, $2,000 a week. You know, he had to go and respite at certain times, and that wasn't cheap. That was like 900 quid a day or something. But if you stayed a week, it's a lot cheaper. £800 or £900 a day. And what do you get for that? You don't get anything. You get fish fingers and chips, and a little bit of social care. And the rest of the time, you sit in a chair and people come talk to you sometimes. The thing is, what I'd like to say in the gross unfairness is that, you know, the elderly and that gentleman that walked around his garden hut and it was approaching 100 years old at the end of this month, I feel he should get a knighthood. He should be decorated in every form. There's somebody that had a duty, a sense of duty about him. And, you know, we could look at that duty within inside ourselves, because I do feel that many of us, not many of us, but there is a percentage of us that don't look at duty. They're looking at themselves. That man didn't have to do that, but he felt he had to because it was his duty. He was hoping to raise £1,000. Well, he's raised 20 million. 20 million pounds. He's 100 on April 30th. Everyone should be outside clapping that man, because he doesn't have to do it. He could be a person that's miserable and say, no, I'm sitting in a chair and that's it. But anyway, going back to the elderly, it's disgraceful, because if you have got money, this is what I say to people out there. When you get to an age, don't have any savings, because if you have to go in a care home when it's like that, they'll sell your house, they'll take your savings. If you had no money, you still stay in the care home for nothing. It's wrong. It's all wrong. So thank you very much for that, Viv. Another message, we've got no name for this one. And this is a message that came through. The biggest difference between now and the world wars is the intense social distancing, as opposed to people coming together to support each other. And, you know, I totally agree. And tonight we learned that in one of the newspapers, it has been written that potentially we're going to have a 3-phase plan. So 11th of May looks like when certain schools will go back, certain things will be lifted. The 25th of May, restaurants will be open and certain shops will be open under 50 staff, and other bits and pieces. And then the full-blown everything will open on about 11th of June. Apparently, that's what they're looking at. That's what's been reported. How do you feel about all that? I mean, it's, you know, I know that you're probably sick to death for talking about CV. Patricia's joined us. Hello, good morning from sunny Australia. This is what I'm talking about. This is Patricia's on the show. She is speaking to us, and it's 4:05 in the morning there. Thank you very much, Patricia. And we're going to be interviewing her in 8 minutes' time. What about that? Be fantastic. But I do want to just give you an idea of some of the stupidity. They must have got a classroom. These are very intelligent people, by the way, that are in government, right? Apparently, multi-millionaire intelligent people. They give out a new guideline on what you can and can't do this week, and what the police will reinforce. It says you can buy several days' worth of food, including luxury items and alcohol. You can buy a small amount of staple item or necessity, i.e. a newspaper, pet food, or bread, or a pint of milk. You can collect items for a friend. You can go to a Juicens or B&Q or whatever it may be and buy tools and supplies to repair a fence panel that's damaged in bad weather. But you can't look at any other things in there. You can't buy paint. You know, we're all at home at the moment. You think a lot of people are going to paint my bathroom or decorate my kitchen. No, you're not allowed to buy that. You're not allowed to buy brushes. It's absolutely pathetic. Do up. People say it's not reasonable to pop out for DIY supplies so you can do up your kitchen, for example. It's just ridiculous. And also, you are within the rules if you're going for a run or cycling, practicing yoga, or walking in the countryside, or in cities, or attending an allotment. Stopping to rest or to eat lunch while on a long walk. You're not allowed to do that, by the way. That is not allowed. And the government says that you can leave your home for medical need if you or a person in your care have a specific health condition that requires you to leave the home to maintain your health, including if that involves travel beyond your local area. What isn't allowed is driving for a prolonged period with only brief exercise. So You can't drive for a long time unless you stop and actually walk about a bit or have a short run. A short walk to a park. This one. Well, I was talking about this last week. A short walk to a park bench when the person remains seated for a much longer period. So you're not allowed to do that anymore. Sunbathing in parks is not permitted, but taking a rest during a workout outdoors is. I'd like to know where these government police are going to be to do all this. You know, the police force aren't going to do all this. We've got people being mugged, robbed, murdered. There's, trouble all over the place. I mean, in America, you can see now. I've said this for a few weeks, and it wasn't to put fear in anyone, but the fact is that people are starting to get riled. They haven't got any money, they haven't got much food, and I know in this country it looks like everything's dealing with it okay, but they're not under the surface. You can feel it in the energy of the earth. And in America, it's bubbling over because you've got some idiot in charge there, even though they've got ferocious numbers still over in that country, and it's a big country, of course, but they are actually opening states. They are opening something now. You can't work outside in with a laptop in a park or something like that. They're just, I mean, to be honest, a 5-year-old made these rules up. Do you know what I mean? It's so open-ended. And you know what the problem with this government all the way through? It's been wishy-washy. It's been contemptual because there's no firm action. No one's at the tiller saying, we're not doing this, you can do that. That's it. It's simple. And Prince Harry today, right, who I know is not popular with a lot of people because he's decided to go off with Meghan and start a new life and get away from the royal family. I can't blame him to a degree. Prince Harry, of course, is not Prince Charles's father. It's not his father. Prince Charles is not his father. Well, allegedly. He said today in comments in an interview on a podcast, better than we are. It's better than what we are led to believe through certain corners of the media. You're not kidding. It's fear porn, isn't it? Absolute fear porn out there. You know what I mean? Absolute fear porn. But one of the biggest bits of advice from police is that people can now move to a friend's address for a cooling off period following arguments at home. Yeah, but what about if they've got coronavirus? What about if they've got a cold? I've got an enormous list of questions and all sorts there as well, but 3 minutes we're going to have. Not being negative, I just want to put a realistic shout into what we live in today. And the realistic shout is that, communicable diseases, deaths so far this year is 3,903,412. That's where there's communication between people. 3,903,415. Seasonal flu deaths this year, 146,267. Abortions this year, nearly 13 million. And deaths of mothers during childbirth, 92,000. Death caused by AIDS, which is not talked about anymore. AIDS and HIV, well, nobody talks about anymore. No, it's gone. 505,000 people have died of HIV or AIDS. And more worryingly, is that we've had 322,441 suicides so far this year. Another very interesting fact, and I know some people don't agree with me reading this out. Doesn't really matter to me. I want to put things in perspective. When we're all sitting, and if you are a person sitting there worrying, well, I'm bored and I don't know what to do, and we've got all this stuff. I mean, all our homes have got loads of stuff in them. And we're all doing different things in certain ways to make time up and try and do our bit, whatever they may be. Give it a thought. We are at 7:20 here, nearly. So far in the world today, and they're all sorts of different timelines, timescales. But today, so far, in the world, 24,000 682 people have died of hunger. Doesn't that just sort of resonate in a way? And some people don't think that, you know, you should read things like that out. That any death is terrible. Great loss, great sadness. But we have to put things in perspective. That's without, you know, cardiac arrest being the main killer in the world, basically. The thing is, it's not just about CV. And the problem is that our press here is completely obsessed with negative reporting, death reporting. I wouldn't mind if they actually opened it up and said, well, we're going to show you how many people died today through suicide, or how many people died through childbirth, but coronavirus. They don't report anything else but coronavirus. And I do feel, and we are now starting our 4th week, and I do feel that there is a rising tension there in relation, because, you know, we spoke about it before. Yes, we can walk outside and we go for a walk, but we can't do much else really. And in a way, it is a bit of an imprisonment. All of us are serving a prison sentence of some description right now. But within that time frame of that prison sentence, we are going through change. And that change is really important, because it is about understanding ourselves better, because there are so many people out there that have looked for other things to take their attention away from themselves. And we have to look at ourselves. We have to face ourselves. It's justice at the end of the day, respectful. And, you know, I do feel very strongly that that's one of the reasons we have something like this, as well as, you know, to be honest, I'm sick to death of the whole thing, to be honest, because it's a fallacy. You know, you can't tell me, if they're really that serious about it, why are they letting 15,000 people a day come in from abroad that are British citizens and not checking them? That just, for me, it's shambolic. You know, why do they spend millions of pounds on test kits that don't work? It's contemptual. And, you know, interesting enough, Matt Hancock, sorry, slip of the tongue. Matt Hancock is a 75% shareholder in a pharmaceutical vaccine company. And interesting enough, the main medical advisor to Boris and his cronies was given £40 million by Bill Gates. Well, I haven't mentioned Bill Gates much on here because I don't need to, because he's making a bad enough job of it himself. Very dangerous man. Very dangerous man. So, you know, there's so many things going on out there, and there's loads and loads of loopholes. I'm not going to go through them all tonight, but you know, I'm going to be putting them out as posed questions to yourself. I want you to ring me up on Thursday and talk about it. Not tonight, because we've got a load of guests on, and our first guest will be on very shortly. But you know, on Thursday night, it's your show to speak about what you want to speak about. And I do know there's a lot of people out there enjoy listening and watching this show. I don't know about watching it, you look at me all the time, but enjoy listening to the show, because it actually gives solace. Because what you see on ordinary media is absolutely shite. It's not real. And, you know, it gives a total different perspective on the world than it really is. And, you know, you try and search other news, right? Other news. I've tried to search for other news. Do you know there are hardly anything? But there is. One bit of news I found today was that Angela Merkel in Germany, I'm going to bring something I used to talk about a lot on this show, Brexit. Nobody talks about Brexit anymore. It's all gone. It's all lost in the ether somewhere. You know, we've come out of Europe, but we haven't really. We're still attached to them until such times that we sign an agreement with them and everything, and the deal is all done, because we only paid the 50 billion pounds, so we can then start negotiating with them, and that would take a year. Angela Merkel saying, well, that's not going to happen this year, so that's not going to happen. So technically, we're not out of Europe. it might seem like we're out of Europe, but we're not out of Europe because we're only out of Europe in name. We're still in Europe right now. And I mean, there's thousands of migrant workers from Romania and Soviet bloc countries, what used to be Soviet bloc countries, all coming here right now because this government's not actually got their heads screwed on. They're paying people to come over here and paying people to come back to this country. And the people they're paying to come over here to migrant workers to pick fruit. Well, surely there's loads of people here that could pick fruit. You know, I'm not saying that they can't come and pick fruit, but surely we've got to look at ourselves first. You know, it doesn't make sense. Really doesn't make sense at all. I'm gonna get on the blower, I think, to young Patricia. Young Patricia's been on the show many times, and we're gonna find her on here. Here we go. Boom, 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 boom. It's good live, right? Good for live show. This. Here we go. We're gonna give her a bow, and Patricia De Angelis. Hopefully she'll be answering the call.
Hello.
Hello, Patricia. How are you?
Hello. I'm very well. How are you, Clint?
I'm very well. I love the accent. It's great. The Australian accent. It's always fantastic. I'm not very good. All I say is I'll put one on the Barbie, mate. That's not very good. That's terrible Australian accent, isn't it?
No. Listen, you have a wonderful accent. I think the British accent is so posh.
Really?
Yeah, you can't say you're going to put one on the bar because it just doesn't go with the beautiful posh British accent.
No, it doesn't, I suppose. Well, I don't know about that, but yeah, well.
How are you? And good morning. It's almost 4:30 here.
4:30 in the morning. And, you know, I take my hat off, and I'm very grateful for you to join us. And I know that you're an avid listener as well, because you were listening most of the time when we're on. But it's great to have you back on.
Fall asleep, yeah. I love the show and I love listening, but sometimes I just can't stay awake. And
I know.
It just goes off, and then I think, oh no, I missed it again.
Yeah, but you could always catch up because we have moved to YouTube, but you can always catch up. So, you know, and yes, we're not too bad. I mean, on here, I'm normally talking about what this government's doing, which is clearly not a lot. And you know, if I said that they were very slow off the mark in relation to this whole crisis, which apparently they're looking now, that started back in September last year. Really, these didn't get their arse in gear until about late February, really. And you know, I do feel that there is a massive. The world we live in is not a world where we're meant to be locked away like animals in a cage. Do you know what I mean? I don't even believe in that, even animals in a cage.
That's so true. I totally agree with you. We're not supposed to, but there is a grander plan here at play.
There is.
But first of all, I just wanted to acknowledge a few things, if I may.
Yeah, of course you can.
I would like to acknowledge the wonderful work that you are doing.
Well, that's very kind. Thank you.
And putting on this show, I have a lot of respect for you, Clint, because
thank you.
It takes a lot of energy, courage, or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
You know, to be on here every week and do what you're doing. So thank you so much for providing a platform for us to.
That's fine. There's two shows now. I'm doing one on a Thursday because.
Yeah, I know you've been very busy.
Yeah.
To share our gifts, our opinions, or whatever.
But there's no me. The thing is, what annoys me and what pisses me off, is the fact that there is no medium in our world that allows freedom of speech like we have on this show.
Yeah.
Or even an understanding or recognition of the spiritual people that exist.
True. But if they were, if spiritual people were to be recognized, then the darkness will have to be.
Well, the shadows, yeah, the darkness would, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I also want to acknowledge, all the people that have suffered, are suffering, people that have passed throughout all this,
Yeah.
virus, and the people that just this is affecting has a very negative effect upon. I just want to acknowledge also all the people that are first responders and all the nurses and that are doing a wonderful job. I think they're amazing, and I bow to them and give thanks for everything that they're doing.
Well, none of them paid enough money, are they?
No, that's true. That's true.
No.
But I just wanted to acknowledge them and then just jump onto a lighter.
Yeah, of course.
Energy, because I'm so excited about this. I'm almost like jumping out of my skin, and let me explain why. Because this awakening is the purpose of why all this is happening. It's the awakening is the essence of the fact that we are light. Like everything about us is light, and the power source that runs all life is light. So it's just an amazing time to be alive, because we're actually in the new world. And I was listening to Dolores Cannon.
Yeah, the late Dolores Cannon. I met her a few times on the same bill. Lovely lady.
I love listening to Dolores Cannon, and especially I have to get the book, The Convoluted Universe.
Yeah, I have that. It's a very good read.
Have you? I have to get it. So I'm quoting Dolores Cannon here, where she wrote, so to awaken to that knowledge that we are light, and to decide to operate in that realm, and to believe that it is possible, are all factors that will put you there. And that is amazing, because we are actually creating our own reality. If indeed we are to pay attention to the gurus and the sages that have come before us, and the ones that are still saying the same thing at present moment, we create our own universe with our thoughts. We create our own reality. So everything that is taking place is happening for our greater good, actually. And as you and I both know, sometimes transformation can be a little bit messy.
Very messy.
We have to go through all the stuff that we don't want. We've got to deal with, as you know, the dark night of the soul, which essentially means bringing up all the darkness that we've suppressed all our lives, all the stuff that makes us uncomfortable, and that feels bad, has to come up into the light so that it can be released.
Because we are past, present, and future all in one, aren't we?
Correct. And while we are not meant to be caged, I don't believe, I respect your point of view. I don't believe that we are caged, at least not here in Australia, because we're not actually quarantined.
You're not quite. Wow, that's brilliant.
No, we don't have a quarantine. We are asked to stay at home.
Yeah.
If we don't really have to go anywhere, to stay at home. But, I go to the supermarket as often as I want to. I actually go to the beach.
Great.
And walk around the beach and get some sun. So we're not really quarantined. But the fact that we are all being, pushed or made or asked to stay inside, it's just for our own betterment. It's just so that we can all, again.
I understand that. I think probably in Australia, I mean, when I look at Australia, I look at a country that has a different outlook with its people, rather than what we've got in this country with the people that we have in power.
Yes.
Which means that they're more they're more compassionate, more understanding. But saying that, I mean, the last time I think we spoke to each other, we were talking about, and that's something that's not ever talked about anymore, the horrendous fires in Australia.
Oh my goodness.
But that's all gone, because it's not on fire now, but it must have left. So what's happened to all the families? They must be devastated.
they are, but we've raised a lot of money, like not obviously me personally, but a lot of people in the collective have helped to raise a lot of money to help these people. So there are a lot of people that put their hand up and said, yes, we're doing this, we're doing that. Raise money, give, whatever we can so that we can help these families. So, a lot of people, they've been looked after. Of course, there are some, sad stories, many sad stories. But the fact is that they've been looked after. And we've had the amazing thing is with all the animals and all the koalas that were burnt, we had people from overseas knitting mittens for the koalas.
Wow.
And that's amazing. I mean, look at what's happening, because I always look at the positive of
absolutely
that happens
in
life. As I know you do too, but I love the fact that you bring up everything so that we can,
you've got it, you throw it into the mix. You
have to. You have to, because there's polar opposites of everything.
Absolutely. Well, we are polar opposites of everything. We can be good or we can be bad.
That's true. As each individual.
Yeah, the choice.
But throughout all this that's happening on a global scale, everybody's coming together. And what better way and what fantastic way to get everybody to unite is through a crisis.
Yeah. And
so,
I think,
not that
I think what you
condoning the crisis.
Yeah. I think what you said earlier on is the fact that I feel personally, I mean, whatever belief systems people say and all sorts of that, this I feel is a man-made concept we're sitting at the moment, but has a spiritual element and a depth attached to it, which is very connected to nature readdressing a balance. And now that's not just in nature itself, because the sky's clear. The air's clear to breathe. There's dolphins in Venice, and there's no pollution, no smog. But it is also about people having to readjust to change. Now, I know all around the world people are different, but certainly in this country, their motivation in this country, a lot of them that are not plugged into the light side, that are sitting, waiting, or observing, are people that just went to work, came home, went and played golf, bought the nicest house, nicest car, went away a couple of times a year, and that's it. And they never spoke to each other much, weren't really spiritual, and now they're in a house together.
Yes, it's a big problem for some people. I was actually watching, I love Jimmy Fallon, the late night show host in the US. I watch him on YouTube because he's just funny, and I watch a lot of things that make me laugh.
Oh yeah, you got yeah.
And he was talking to one of his musicians on the late night show, and he said, he was asking him, how are you coping with all this? And he goes, well, Jimmy, it's like this. Before all this happened, before we were quarantined, I would get up, say hi, bye, and I'm off, and then I come home, have dinner, shower, go to bed, and it's the same thing every day. But now I've got to talk to these people. Now I've got to deal with these people are his family.
Yeah.
So now he's got to talk to his partner, his wife. He has to listen to his kids, and his daughter keeps ringing him from upstairs. He's downstairs, and she keeps asking him for things. And I'm thinking, wow, do you realize what you're actually saying? Are you listening to what you're saying?
Yeah, I agree.
So you're happy to go to work because everybody, I know we need money to pay bills and to live and all that. I understand that. But so I was happy to just go to work every day and be happy and content with just saying hi and bye to his family, and that was it. And now the fact that he's got to be with them because he's quarantined, it was really ticking him off. And I'm just sitting there scratching my head going, but what's wrong with you? But everybody's that's in the same situation is feeling the same way.
And I think it's different in different countries in relation to how, I suppose, really that it's been with the succession of people that have controlled that country, if you feel like governments and all sorts. And
True.
I do feel that it also comes down to the as you know, the leadership and understanding within inside the people that are governing themselves. The problem is that it's very slow. I mean, you can say, well, okay, well, they were slow and all sorts, but they still are. We're still in a country where people are, frontline workers, and even got the right equipment. You know what I mean?
Look, I know that's always the way. Look, I don't know that our people in government are better or worse. I mean,
Mm.
From my perspective, when all these fires happened, everybody had a go at our prime minister because he was.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So his name is Scott Morrison, but he's called ScoMo for short. That's his nickname, ScoMo.
That might be the planet he's from.
Sorry, what was that?
That might be the planet he's from, ScoMo.
Probably. if you've met
I haven't been there for a while. I do remember a planet called ScoMo.
It's so funny. That cracks me up. I'm trying hard not to laugh. So he copped it left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
Because he didn't do this properly, he didn't do that properly, and all of a sudden I'm thinking this virus was made because it was made, it was created, it was there, and all of a sudden we've got notices from the government coming up, on TV, on YouTube, on social media, and I'm thinking, wow, that happened really, really quickly. It's almost as if
planned.
They already knew that it was happening.
Yeah, of course.
And they have all these strategies and all these flyers, and everything is,
organised. It sounds very organised.
It's very organised, and it's very unlike ScoMo.
Yeah.
I don't know I don't know anything about politics. I don't know enough to discuss it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it would be like to run a country. But he's not that organised. And I'm thinking, well, that was obviously already in the planning. So
yeah, it's probably in the planning when you had the terrible fires, to be honest.
Way before that.
Yeah.
Way before that.
Yeah.
Did you know that they had in 1999 The Simpsons had the guy that reads the news in The Simpsons, whatever his name is, because I haven't watched it.
I haven't watched it for years.
Was reading the news. This is on The Simpsons, and they showed. I just saw a snippet of it in 1999.
Yeah.
It said coronavirus.
Yeah.
And they showed a little kitty cat.
Yeah, and this
has been in the plan.
Oh, it's been there for ages. 2 years ago, there was I can't remember the particular series, but there's a series in China where they actually spoke about coronavirus and COVID-19 2 years ago. And 2015, Bill Gates was going around the world showing pictures of the coronavirus and talking about this pandemic.
Yeah, but it's all to look at it from a different perspective.
Absolutely.
It's all for our greater good. I mean, this is the mass awakening that we've been talking about. And what is a mass awakening? It's the massive shift in consciousness. I mean, people are now realizing that, the purpose of all this is to figure out, all this darkness that it's not really, but the darkness that they're showing on social media is...
And the mass media.
People the opportunity, and the mass media, it's giving people the opportunity to see what great life they actually have. And the thing is that so many people focus so much on negative stuff. Like, this is a constant thing, not just bringing it up in conversation for the sake of conversation.
Yeah.
And they've been focusing on the dark side for so long that they've forgotten that there is actually an equal side of light. There is. So I'm very excited, because as scary as all this seems on the surface, it's not real. It's a Maya. It's an illusion.
It is. I totally agree with you. I totally agree. It is an illusion. It's a complete illusion.
It is an illusion. So, and quoting Dolores Cannon again, I absolutely love Dolores Cannon. I've been listening to her for years.
She's a lovely lady. I was lucky enough to meet her a few times.
Oh, really?
I was on the same bills doing talks with her. Yeah.
Oh, you're very blessed.
Yeah, she's a lovely lady. She really was.
I will have to meet her on the other side when I get there.
Yeah. Not for many years, though.
No, only the good go young.
Absolutely.
I'm here for the long haul.
Yeah.
She was talking about the old world and the new world, that they are superimposed.
Yeah.
So we are already in the new world, and it's all about choices. So if people watch the news and they get all caught up in, in everything that's happening, and you make it out of your world, then that's what you're going to see.
Yeah.
Because it's what you choose to watch, what you choose to do, the choices that you make within that. It's all about what you think about and what you focus on. So obviously, if you focus on the negative, you just perpetuate the negative.
Yeah.
So, and that's what people that are like that are going to stay in the old world. But if you choose the positive and love, you shift into the new world. And it's as simple as that.
It is, and I think there's something in between those worlds. Are people very light like myself that are just bringing out facts and things. They might be little, they might be big, to people's attention to show you the incompetence of what we sit in, which is part of the change, really, for them to see properly.
Well, like she was saying, like together we have the ability to remove the veil.
Yeah.
That exists only in our minds. And everything that isn't for us, everything that's been negative, everything that's, the dark side that's been running this world is coming up to the light, is being exposed. So everyone can see now what's going on, and people are waking up to the fact.
Yeah.
So
many people, many thousands, millions of people.
Many. Well, see, now there are more free thinkers than there has ever been.
Yeah.
Because now, even thanks to social media, who like to cover things up and just put out the content that they want. We do have social media, we do have technology and information, and people are starting to question everything because things come out.
Yeah, because I think I feel when I look back to when I was very young, I believed that everything I was told was a lie. And then I looked into it and investigated it for years and years and years and years and years. And it's not a conspiracy, it's what you feel. It's what you feel inside. The whole thing, when this came out, I immediately thought, well, this is just not real.
Yeah. Wow. Very perceptive.
And it isn't. And yeah, people are dying, but it's we carry virus in our body. And the soul is an important factor here, because the soul holds the link between all worlds, and it holds the link between all lives. And we are right now, up until what we are right now, everything we've been, but we are also everything we're going to be, and in not just past, present, future, but dimensionally parallel that sits around us in other worlds. So we got a vast array of knowledge within inside ourselves to tap into. And the people that passed, it's very sad, but as with everything, there is there's death and rebirth process. No, I'm not taking that lightly with people that's passed. That's death and rebirth of us.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned at the beginning that I just wanted to acknowledge the people that have passed through all this. But
absolutely.
People die every day. Like, no, it's not taking anything away from anybody that dies from any illness or anything else.
That's why I put it in perspective that today so far 26,000 people's died of because they haven't got food.
Yeah. See, but also the other side to that is that we all come in with karma
Yeah,
into this life,
absolutely.
into each life, and we are the ones that decide what we're going to do when we come in. Because remember, we're the ones that put our hand up and said, "Yeah, we'll come and help humanity." You know, we voted to come here. We volunteered to come here.
We wanted to come here, otherwise we wouldn't be here.
What the hell? What the hell were we thinking?
What were we thinking? But you see, even when we were told, "Do you want to come here or not?" we were also told that even though we sat in that classroom as souls, and they said, "Where do you want to go?" There's Earth, and we're all looking at it thinking, "Oh, I don't know if I want to go back there again." But and then they're saying, "Well, you need to go back this time because I still class what we're doing as expeditionary in a way, which means that it's very new, and I do feel that the challenges, this planet's had challenges for years, centuries and centuries, but I do feel that we were told that there would be something massive happen where you can be in it and be part of it, or you're not, and it's almost an initiation itself to be here at this time, to be in it.
It is. It is. This is why I'm so excited and jumping out of my skin. And while I know a lot of people that are living in fear, and I do feel for them because I'm there for them. I understand it. I'm there for them. But I can't say to them, I'm actually jumping out of my skin. I'm so excited because I know the broader meaning of what is transpiring. And 2020 was always going to be about balance. And Mother Nature will always reclaim balance.
Absolutely.
She will allow us to take advantage for so long.
Yeah.
But then she's going to go, okay, you kids have made a mess. That's not going to allow that to happen anymore. So now I'm just going to step in and be the mum and say, you cannot do that anymore.
And people tend to forget that we embody, we are animal.
Yeah.
We're animalistic. Absolutely. We're animals, really, as humans.
Yeah.
The driving force is what we have inside ourselves. But that opens a huge topic, which is the battle goes on between people within their brain, which is third dimensional. Basically, just tells you your historical knowledge and what you've been through in this life, and what it is, what's real because you see it. But your mind and your soul and your emotions all connect to each other to say it's not like that. In other words, the engine room sits inside you, the soul being.
Yes, exactly. And sorry I digress, but what I was saying about karma is that we all come in with karma, but we also choose how we're going to go back to spirit as well.
Yeah.
Because, you choose how you're going to go. And if people have, as unfortunate as it sounds, a painful death or a worse experience before they pass, it's because that's how they've repaid their karma. They chose that.
Yeah.
So it's not like, a lot of religious people will say, why does God allow this? God doesn't allow bad things to happen. Bad things are man-made, not God-made. If God is love and God is light, why would God make it?
And it also comes down to the choices we make as well.
Absolutely.
And that's the bit.
And it's all us, and it's all within us. In the kingdom of God, heaven is all within us. So if now that instead of having the segregation of the spiritual people and non-spiritual people, if the spiritual people keep telling us, go within, go within. I mean, look at me, I do meditation. So go within, because I meditate so much that I don't react anymore to the outside world.
Yeah.
I'm not reactive. I'm just an observer.
Yeah, but all of us have a different purposes at this time, which bring out the tools inside us that we need to do.
Yes. Don't they just come out? And
yeah.
I don't know about you, but I've never been busier in my life whilst I'm at home.
I know.
There's a lot of people call, and a lot of people are afraid, and I'm like, yeah, just ring me. I don't care what time, just ring me. You feel fear or you feel that you can't cope, please call me. And this is to people anywhere around the world.
Yeah.
But I wanted to, if I may, because I think I'm going over my time, or just about to run out of time, I wanted to quote a passage from the Bible, from the New Testament, because I know I'm not religious and I don't read the Bible. Well, I just came across this and I thought it was pertinent to what's going on. I do know a lot of people that are religious, and they're the ones that are the most fearful.
Oh, yeah, you're not kidding.
I don't get it, because if you have faith, then what do you have to be afraid of, right?
Well, yeah, but I suppose that comes down to mass manipulation of religion itself.
Correct. So this is the passage that I just wanted to share with you. So this is from the New Testament. Everyone who listens to these words of mine and does them will be like a man building a house who dug deep and laid the foundation on the rock. The rain fell, the floods came, and the wind blew and beat against the house, but it did not collapse. It had been set solidly on rock. And everyone who listens to these words of mine but does not do them will be like the fool who built his house on sand. The rain fell, the floods came, and the wind blew and beat against the house, and it collapsed and was completely ruined. So the deeper meaning of this is, if you listen and you practice the teachings of Jesus, you know that the kingdom of heaven is within you, not anywhere else, space or time. The building of the house is us. The man is us. The house is us.
We are the walking temple. We are the walking church.
That's exactly right. So if we don't go deep enough into the foundation, we don't build deep enough.
I feel at this time many people are going to go very deep, because they're going, yourself, Patricia, as myself, and as many people listen out there right now, to go onto the path of what we're on and to be the people we are. It is very much about having to go through the immense dark night of the soul, immense pain and suffering and all sorts, to be where we are. And when it comes to the time as it sits in now, all those people in fear are having to face a lot of things within inside themselves, which I feel is a judgment day for themselves, in a way.
I couldn't agree with you more. And this is what I remind them of. Sorry.
No, you carry on. Yeah.
No, you go.
And I feel that, my own personal journey, as everyone's personal journey, is a difficult one to be where we are. I never knew I'd be doing this. I never knew I'd be speaking to thousands of people around the world about all sorts of different subjects and doing readings and all manner of different things. But I did, in a way, but I didn't, because I wasn't switched on. It wasn't until I was very, very early that I was switched on, and then thought, well, I need to. I was a trailblazer. This is why I say everyone's got different bits. To say, well, I'm not happy about this. I'm going to write about it, and I'm going to write this. I'm going to write that, and later on in the years, you do shows like this, because this is all you're doing, as you said in the beginning, which is very kind words, but it's not about me, this show. It's about everyone else, because it's about bringing together people who can have a forum and an opportunity to express themselves, to tell their story, to give guidance. One of the biggest problems in our world, as you know, is communication. That is with couples, that is with families, that is with friends. And, we doing it is with no ego, no anything. It's very much about just being. And when you get to a point of just being, you sit in a place that is people, they can't understand it. They're not there because they don't understand why you're not panicking, or you're not doing this, or you're not doing, because I'm just me.
That's exactly it.
I'm just me. That's it.
They don't understand They don't understand why I'm not panicking. That I can't. That's why I said to you, I can't say to them, I'm really excited.
No,
because
they think you're mad.
The misery, it's not that. That's what they would understand.
Yeah.
I'm excited about what is coming from this.
Yeah.
What is transpiring. I'm excited that people are being forced, if you will, to go within. Now they're going to have to. The night of this, everyone is going to have to go through it, and we're doing this on a collective level.
Yeah, because they've had opportunity
that they buried deep inside.
Yeah, they've had opportunity up until now, but a lot of people haven't taken that. It's been there. It's always been there. It's not always not been there.
That is so true. You are so correct. I mean, how many opportunities are we going to have?
Yeah.
How many opportunities we get to have to deal with our things? So many people carry so much baggage, not luggage, baggage from the past.
Yeah.
And they keep bringing it to the present moment. And I mean, I've been in half my life in hospitality, so I spoke to thousands of people, from all walks of life, in a different way than you have. And I've just lost the plot. Sorry, I've had so much information coming through.
No, it's all right. No. But the thing is, I understand what you're saying. I used to work in corporate world as well. I still used to do what I'm doing.
Oh, that's right.
But I worked in corporate world, and within the corporate world, that people know that you're different. Because they know, because they sense it, because they see it. Now they either get close or they run away, and those that get close change, and those that run away are putting off an inevitable point that at some point that they have to come up to a point to actually say, you have to change now, and that's where we sit, really.
That's exactly right. That's why people are uncomfortable. And I just remembered the point I was trying to make. Sorry, that a lot of people that I would talk to would say, especially if I asked, or are you married or whatever, and they go, oh, hell no, I'm not going there again. Oh, why? What happened? Not a very pleasant experience. Oh, no, it was terrible. Da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, yeah, but you do know that was that person. And not everybody is the same.
No.
So people carry a lot of.
Oh, they do. Loads and loads and loads and loads, and we all work with those people. We all work with those people every day.
Absolutely. And this is now an opportunity on a global scale to just go within and go, okay, now you're just going to have to face it. You're going to have to face your family. You need to learn how to talk to your spouse that you used to barely see, and your children. And now you're going to find out, if you're a husband and you were never home, exactly what your wife does at home with the children, and vice versa. If the man stays at home with their family and the wife goes out to work, now you get to find out what it's actually like. But now everybody has to face their darkness. But it's nothing bad as people assume it.
No, it's not.
It might be sad, it's bad memories. But
if we need to release that from winners, we need to release it. That's it, because it's waiting to go.
That's right. You can't pour into a cup that's already full.
No.
You can't put any more into it.
No.
So you have to empty yourself out of all the stuff that you don't need, so you can make room for the new. To come in.
Yeah.
So, that's why I'm very excited, but I can't say that to these people.
Well, I'm pleased you're really excited, because I'm quite excited about it as well. I mean, I'm not happy about certain things, but that's because I've got a different head on me in relation to looking at reality, and I feel for people. I care, and when you care for people, I want to tell people this is not right. This is not right. These people are incompetent. You know what I mean? And you go away and make your own mind up. But I'm going to tell you every week what I feel, because that's why I do this show. That's why I started this show. So I hope
you continue to do it for a very long time.
Oh, I will. I'll be doing it when I'll be doing it when I'm 130.
And I will be listening.
You will.
I used, used to work in aged healthcare.
Yeah.
So I feel for elderly people.
Yes.
Because I see them when I go to the supermarket, that the scared look on their faces. But having said that, I also look at other people that walk past you and they look down and they don't breathe. They walk past you.
Yeah.
Because they're in fear, because they're just, watching the news every day and just consuming everything.
Yeah. I watch the news and I laugh at them because I just cannot believe what garbage they come out with.
Oh my God. And the figures that they keep.
Yeah, well, already people know, and they admit to themselves that pretty much
the people that have passed away, that the doctors were told to say that it was due to the virus.
And it's not. Even if it's rubbish. It's all garbage. Anyway, we've run out of time, unfortunately, Patricia.
Sorry, I'm out of time. Thank you so much.
I could talk to you for hours. I'm really sorry. But I thank you very much, because I know it's very early in the morning there. So I'm really grateful for...
6 a.m. now.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Thank you for having me.
We'll get you back on again, Patricia.
Sorry?
We'll get you back on again. Don't worry.
It'll be my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for all that you do. It's really very much appreciated.
Thank you, and yourself as well.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks a lot, Patricia. You go. You can go and have a little sleep now. And then you'll wake up and you find that this has all been a dream. It's like Bobby in the shower.
Oh, no. Well, I've had 2 cups of coffee. Now I can't go to sleep, so I might as well stay up. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Patricia.
We'll talk soon.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks a lot. All right. Bye. Bye. What a lovely lady she is. Patricia DeAngelis, all the way over in Sydney in Australia. Lovely lady. Gives a different perspective. Everything about people coming to the show, all guests, brings something different to the mix. Patricia brings a very ambient warmth and an understanding that's enriched and deep. We run over there. I do apologize about that, people. Anyone waiting for Helen Kernau, who is up next, I believe. I do apologise that we are running slightly behind, but it's not unusual. We do have a tendency to talk and then talk again, because that's what this show's about. It's about talking. I used to do another show on another radio station that was very much about music and communication. So we're going to give Helen a call just to see, because she might have thought, well, hopefully she's listening, so hopefully she would know that we are running over a bit, and we have run over a bit. So we're going to give her a call and see if we can get hold of her. And I hope you're well out there, and I hope you're enjoying the show. Every week on a Sunday, we bring new people, new dynamics, and you can hear it's ringing there. And tonight is no exception. We've had Patricia DeAngelis. We've got Helen Kernau up next, and then 8:20 tonight we've got Robert Luther Smith, who's an independent musician, producer of music. He's worked with loads of famous people. He's a lovely guy, and we can't get hold of Helen, which is live. This is live. See, there it is. She may phone up in a minute. You never know. And we have got the amazing Mario Morris at 10 to 9 tonight, and a man of mystery up after that. So yes, just again plugging the show that we do on a Thursday. That show is very different to this. That show is very much about you come up with your views, your suggestions, your ideas. And here we have lots of guests. We talk a bit about bits and pieces, but it's very much about guests coming on, giving their ideas, their understanding, and everything else. And then, obviously, from that, you gauge an opinion, and you go away and research. I tell people, go away and look at things yourself. Don't believe everything that somebody just tells you. Don't even believe everything I tell you. Go away and look at it. Patricia says, "Sorry, you're running behind because of me." No, not at all. It's all right. Look. The thing is that there's no time limit on this show. at all. And unfortunately, all sorts of things can happen when you're live. And anyone out there that's done any sort of live events or anything will know straight away that you get situations where or there's a block or there's no guest there or whatever. Well, you fill it in. You know what I mean? You fill in. I just want to go back to what I was talking about earlier on. With Brexit, that has been reported this week. That I want to just remind you that I know Brexit went on for 3.5 years. We're not out of Brexit, only in name. We're still there. There is now 2 years where they've got to have negotiations to withdraw. So we're not out of the Brexit at all. My Cusbro, who I know is listening right now, will be having a little smile on his face because he has always said that actually I don't think they're ever going to leave, and maybe they won't. You know what I mean? I also want to tell you about another story this week that's caught my eye, which is in Uganda, which is they've got a different kind of plague there. They have got obviously CV, but they got the biggest locust outbreak some countries have seen in 70 years. A second wave of ferocious insects, some 20 times the size of the first, is arriving. Can you imagine that? These locusts that are big, 20 times bigger. I mean, they must be the size of dogs. Do you know what I mean? But are big. Anyway, billions of young desert locusts are winging in from breeding grounds in Somalia in search of fresh vegetation springing up from seasonal rains. Millions of already vulnerable people at risk, and as they gather to try and combat locusts, often in vain, they risk spreading the virus, a topic that comes a distant second for many in rural areas, because obviously there is a virus there already. I just want to pass that by you because look, and I sent something out on Facebook tonight, which was very much about a woman sitting in a car park at a mart, so like a Walmart or something like that. And she's in this car park, and there is hundreds and hundreds of birds. And when I say hundreds, there's thousands of them, and they're all flying around, and it looks like something out of date. Hitchcock's film, The Birds, because there was birds everywhere, and they're standing on a car walking about. This woman was terrified sitting in a car. Oh, I don't know what's happening. It's terrible. Well, they're not going to hurt you. It's not like in a film. This is where sometimes we get a different illusion or understanding of what's going on. But fascinating. If anyone's on my Facebook, go and have a look at that. It's all these birds in a supermarket car park. Quite incredible. I will just run through what we are going to talk about on Thursday, because some of the questions here that I've raised myself, and some of the things that have happened, and these are things, as well as we are talking about on Thursday, the soul. So what happens to the soul? Why are people so scared of death? Is it because they're scared of the unknown, because they don't know, because they haven't been there? But actually you have, because everyone's had death and rebirth. So we're going to be looking at that, and what happens when you pass, and where you go. We're going to be looking at that as well. I think it's a fascinating subject, and the fear that people have, the fear of dying, of death. And I'll be talking about certain people that have died and come back. There's certain people that have done that. They've literally died for 20 minutes and come back, and they've seen things. I'll be talking about that on the show. And I'll be posing a lot of questions, which some of them I've spoke about already tonight, but on Thursday I'll be looking at. I spoke about this. No one's talking about it. And I think it's very valid. Why is it go? I mean, I'm looking at the now, because right now, a lot of people out there listening or watching, you're all very spiritual, but some people inside, and some friends listening and all sorts of that as well, don't know what's going on, don't know how to do things. And look, unless we're instructed how to do something, how do we know how to do it? I mean, all this, you can sign on. Nobody actually tells you how to do it. Oh, you go on the website and you go through these forms. That's it. Well, it's simple. And then you sit in the queue for 12,000 people. And then there's business loans. You get business loan, you have to go for all these different forms and do this and this and this. And you know, the self-employed. Well, yes, you can claim self-employment, but there's these rules and regulations to it, and there's these forms to fill in. I said last week on Thursday, I said, why aren't we having programs on TV just explaining that briefly? You know, even if nobody's there to question answer, why isn't somebody on there saying, this is what you do? It could be 5 minutes, 2 minutes. It could be an advert. If you're self-employed, you need to do this, this, this. There's nothing, absolutely nothing. Business loans. If you're in business and this, and universal credit, this is what you do. Sign on. And a subject that I always bang on about, and I will do probably forever, I should imagine, is the fact that the homeless and travellers, because they are a completely forgotten people out there. A lot of homeless people haven't got anywhere to live for whatever reasons. I know a lot of places have opened up places for them, and you know, we have so many hotels empty. Why aren't we opening them up to these people? Why is it the government instructing a department to go around and pick all these people up to take them into a hotel and put them in a hotel in a safe environment for a time, as we all are? But they don't do that because they're not looking at these people as being very important. That's why. It's a terrible thing, but they aren't. And I already spoke about PPE for carers and NHS. Oh, it's just baffling, isn't it? And as for tests, well, you know, they want to do 100,000 tests by the end of the month. It's just figures. And, you know, we have these figures every day where another 600's died or 500's died or whatever. Somebody asked me, and again, I'm not mocking it and I'm not being funny about it, but somebody said to me the other day that actually, how do we know it's true? How do we know they have died? You know, there's no coverage of anyone. You don't see anything. Do you know what I mean? It's the same as, and people don't like what I say now, but I'm going to say it. It's the fact that, you know, you go back to Manchester bombing, which was illusionary. It was fake. It wasn't real. And I know that it is portrayed as real, but it wasn't real, because a lot of people that portrayed to have died there were people that were alive, because they were pictures of people that were used that are alive. And, you know, it was a bomb that went off in a corridor. Yes, there was some people injured, but so many people come out of there that it was fake. It was not real. And if you sit in a place where you feel that our government or we would not be treated like that, can I just remind you what happened to the Twin Towers and the Pentagon particularly? Because the Pentagon had a plane flying it apparently, but when you look at it, there is no plane. There is a whacking great big hole in the Pentagon, which resulted from a missile being thrown at it. No wreckage, no plane wreckage. There would be something. There's nothing. You know, so if you think that people aren't capable, people are capable of doing anything. If they have power and they don't want you to know something, they're capable. You must remember, all of us out there have ability to telepathically talk to each other. Give my voice a rest. Telepathically talk to each other, or levitate objects, or telekinesis, or all manner of things. Those abilities exist from us from our ancient elderhood. It sits within inside our soul. The dumbed down notion that we have in our reality is a mass manipulation of keeping us held back. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, it's as simple as that, basically. So, you know, the reality we live in is not as real as you think it is. And I agree with what Patricia was saying there. Other things we're going to talk about on Thursday. Why are we flying 15,000 people back? Why they want to come back here? Why can't they stay where they are and then come back when it's over? Why are we doing that? £75 million that's costing to fly them all back, and they're not being checked. Great. £60 million spent on tests that don't work. I told you about Matt Hancock, Mr. Cock, the fact that he's a shareholder in a massive PLC company that manufactures vaccines. And I spoke to you also the fact that in America they're rioting because people are just bad enough, because they're not being led properly. We're also I want Victoria Beckham worth 40. I don't know how this happened. Victoria Beckham worth 420 million pounds, but she's asking the government to pay her staff. I told you about the East Bloc workers flown in to fruit pick for the government, and Facebook. And this is where it starts to get dangerous, because civil liberties start to go out the window. Facebook is removing posts, and very soon we're bringing new tough rules on what you can post on Facebook in regards to this. So, you know, everyone that's putting anything out there that goes against the grain of actually what it is that they're lying about will actually not have it put on there. Another question is, and this is a bit of a strange one, and you know, this is only my opinion. Boris, we haven't seen. Boris gone away. He don't like confrontation. He likes it when he can be stupid and silly. The question you got is that, you know, is that Boris? That's my question. Is it Boris? Is it a clone of Boris? Because if you look at the new Boris, he looks slightly different to the old Boris. And another thing that came up that was brought to my attention by somebody was the fact that, you know, a lot of people are homeschooling. And there's a lot of people find that very difficult because they don't know what to teach them particularly, or they don't know quite how to do it. Why haven't the schools got their act together to actually teach them from home? They've all got laptops or iPads or phones. Why aren't they doing that? And you know, there is a pressure there as well on the parents that's on top of the pressures that they have normally. So I do know through talking to this person that certain higher echelons children in private education are having some form of private tuition that is through the internet. Why aren't all the kids? Why are we doing it? We're stuck to the net. Why aren't we doing it? Just don't make sense. It really don't make sense at all. It looks like Helen Kernow, for whatever reason, is not joining us tonight. So I do apologise about that, because we are come up 22 minutes past. We're going to get hold of Robert. Hopefully we will get hold of Robert. Helen will be on a future date. It is interesting when you observe and you look and you see what really is going on. And when you look and observe and you see what's going on, you find actually the world is very, very different to how they portray it. We're going to ring Mr. Robert up, and hopefully he'll be on the phone. Interesting guy. Oh, hang on. Oh, I think he was ringing me at the same time I was ringing him. I'm gonna try him again. And he'll probably try me. Well, this could be Helen. Who knows? It could be anyone, couldn't it? Ringing away. It's ringing away.
Welcome to the O2 message.
And they're not there. So we're going to try Rob again. No, we're not. We got a phone call again. Hello, is that Robert?
Yeah.
Hello, Robert. How are you?
Well, I'm very well.
It's fantastic to speak to you, Robert, and thank you for coming on.
That's fine.
You've been on many times, and I know, I mean, I could, as with all guests, you can talk for hours and hours and hours. How are you dealing? Because I know you've got an elderly mother, haven't you? How is she?
She's 101. She's fine. Yeah, no problem. She's probably in the best place because we have Prama ladies from Prama Care come in twice a day.
Yeah.
And so I'm with her all the time. So she's probably better off in that situation anyway. So pretty good. Really, we're all right.
Fantastic. And I've seen pictures of her because you put it online, all sorts of that. And she looks lovely. And well done, you know, because it's not easy. And sorry, yeah, absolutely, yes, I know. I've been there myself. I know. It has good and bad points to it. But you know, most importantly, you know, in regards to the situation that we're in at the moment, which I feel is a bit of an invigoration time, it is fear driven. I mean, there is many things out there at the moment that is driving people insane by switching on their news or looking at a paper that has about 12 pages of coronavirus and then nothing else.
That's right.
I mean, it's garbage, isn't it?
Well, it's very odd. I mean, it seems to be that to me, the news is obsessed with the concept of uncertainty.
Yeah, I know.
They just love stories that involve. I mean, we've had Brexit, and it's all about uncertainty. Now they've got another thing they can go on about uncertainty, as if uncertainty wasn't the natural thing in the world. I mean, everything's uncertain. What is certainty, for heaven's sake? But I was going to mention. Hello.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
I was going to mention that some schools are starting video lessons on Monday.
Are they? Brilliant.
Yeah, no, they set up a whole system, and it starts tomorrow.
Well, that's really good. That'd be useful, and I'm sure a lot of people will get a lot from that. I must admit, because I mean, they all got interactive whiteboards and all sorts of things. Just stand in the classroom, do it at home or whatever. Anyway, so you know, it's not difficult as you get. You know, we've seen. You know, you're a musician and a very talented one at that. I've got a lot about you here actually, which I haven't spoke to you about before. But I mean, you've been in the music business a long time, haven't you?
I have indeed. Yeah, it's a long. It's 1974.
Yeah.
Really, when I started. Yeah.
And it says here that you discovered R&B at the age of 5 with Let's Twist Again.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
With my grandmother listening to the radio, because it was my grandmother that really engaged me with music. She said she wanted a musician in the family, so she got one, I guess.
Brilliant.
But, she started me off listening to 78 box sets of Beethoven and Mozart, and I used to stand in front of that great mahogany gramophone conducting.
I remember those.
We were listening to the radio, and Let's Twist Again came on, and it caught my attention. I remember it vividly. It's one of those funny things. But yeah.
And you worked with some very famous people as well, haven't you?
Well, I mean, I'm not a name dropper, but I suppose I suppose I'm a musician, really.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, I played that. What was it, From the Shadows thing? What was that film?
God.
From the Shadows, or the Shadow, about that stunt guy who injured himself and then started looking into the entertainment business. Yeah,
I can't remember what it is, but yeah.
Yeah, and what he found out, and I mean, as soon as I went into it, I mean, I didn't choose to go. I sort of went into it, because in those days, you've got to remember that the weekly wage was £10 a week.
Yeah, that's a lot of money then.
Well, and I was getting paid £40 a night to play.
Yeah, that is a lot of money.
Well, that's a lot of money. You don't say no to that, do you?
No.
The month's wages. So I just got dragged into it, because I'm a middle class kid, and I had an electric guitar, and I learned how to play it. So therefore, I had an economic value.
And you went out and you had a lot of fun. You had a lot of laughter, a lot of enjoyment, a lot of experiences, and it was a time when things were what I would class a bit freer and easier.
Yes, it was. But the thing I was going to mention, I mean, it's obviously, but that From the Shadows video talks about these elite paedophile rings.
Yeah.
And that was the first thing I discovered when I went into the music business.
Really?
Because I got signed to this guy called Chris Denning. You can look him up on Wiki.
Yeah.
He was a Radio 1 DJ, and I got signed to him. And we used to go to his. I never went on my own. We used to go to his house in Weybridge to discuss what we were going to do. And he was the go for Jonathan King, who I assume you remember.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And whenever I went to this guy's house, Chris Denning's house, there were always like 14 or 15-year-old boys there,
Yeah.
and the atmosphere was sort of I use the word sweaty.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I realised what was going on, and I told my mother the day, and he was arrested the next week.
Yeah.
And it was a paedophile ring.
Yeah.
And he was using music to attract young people into his, and presumably he was passing them on to Jonathan King and all that. So that was my first real. And I have to say that if you know about Jonathan King, he produced Genesis and 10cc.
He did.
I knew about it. Genesis and 10cc must have known about it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I can't say they did, but I mean, come on. So that was my first real experience. And I think that because people then realised that I was the one that had called standing out, I think I was treated with circumspection. It probably didn't do my career any good, you know, in that sense.
No, but at the same time, it's not. It's, you know, it's better to not conform than to conform, isn't it?
Oh God, I'm not going to get it. I know. I mean, well, that's been the story of my life, really. I mean, I'm not an unconventional person in that sense. I mean, I'm a pretty regular, you know, I'm a good middle class boy. You know, I did my homework, but a lot of it ends up in, you know, corrupt practices in, you know, the higher echelons.
Yeah.
Where it's all the money, isn't it? I mean, what I say is, you know, where there's muck, there's brass. But where there's brass, there's villains.
Yeah.
And I think that just the big money just corrupts people. You know, they just keep quiet because of the money. And you know, we've seen in you know, with Weinstein and all that nonsense.
Well, yeah, and they're on the process of. It's not yet, and they're obviously waiting for this to die down. But there will be the A-list people will be coming out very shortly, being arrested and all sorts for all sorts of things that they've been done. The disgusting things that they've done with children. Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, yeah, and it's extremely sad. And I mean, if that's the price you have to pay to do any job, whether it's music or anything else, I'm afraid I'm not, you know. No. I'm not available.
Well, that is the darkness that exists within the higher echelons. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah, I don't think there's anything. I mean, I think we should all know there's no doubt about it now. And the point. And I mean, I had an incident when I was just, you know, I've got this academic side to me.
I know you're an incredibly intelligent person, Robert.
Oh, thank you. You say the nice. But I'm always critical. And I mean, you know, they claim that universities are places of free thinking and all this stuff. It's absolute nonsense.
It's rubbish, yeah.
If you don't go along with the right kind of thinking, then they see you as a troublemaker. They don't want criticism. And I was called into the Dean of Faculty's office, and he said to me, now, Robert, why don't you just play the game? And I said, what game? And he didn't say anything. And of course, what he meant was just turn a blind eye to things that, you know, that they do that are wrong. You know, turn a blind eye. And that's not the way that I was brought up. You know,
absolutely. I mean, you know, I mean, for a lot of people out there that haven't been in that place or have no knowledge of it and all, it's daunting because put in situations like that, many people do turn blind eyes. That's the trouble. It's very interesting talking. I know it's a very dark subject, but at the same time, it is a subject to be talked about because, you know, we're on the precipice of many people all over the world being arrested and locked up for absolutely atrocious acts with children. That's from the Vatican to Hollywood to God knows where. And you know, I remember watching Louis Theroux, which I have a lot of time for Louis Theroux. I think he's a really good investigative. And I watched him with Jimmy Savile. And this is before this all blew up with Jimmy Savile. And I watched it and I thought, my mum used to love Jimmy Savile. Jim will fix it and all that. And I watched somebody there that is completely and utterly, well, I don't know what words to describe it. He's multifaceted character.
Yeah. Well, I think from what I could see, and I mean, it kind of reflects on the financial crisis, whatever it was, in 2008. People do things that they find that nobody knows they're doing it.
Yeah.
So, you know, somebody dips their hand into the funds and takes out 10 grand and finds that nobody notices. And so next time they take 20 grand and they find nobody's noticed.
I know.
It's a lack of people supervising, or the people that are supervising are being bribed into not supervising. It's one or the other, or something similar to that. And that's how it happens. It's people find out accidentally that they can get away. You know, you've got to think, but you know, don't need you've got to think. The 1970s, 1960s, this whole top of the top thing connected with Radio 1 was really a surefire way of getting into the chart.
Yeah.
You know, it was. I mean, it cost about £12,000 to organise it. You know, to get on and all this kind of stuff. And obviously, the possibilities of corruption was almost endless.
Oh, loads.
In the end, that's what you got. You got a bloke like Jimmy Savile, and Jonathan King, who were playing. I mean, I came across Jimmy Savile on one occasion, and he was obviously a very odd character. You know, I'm a pretty good judge of character in the ordinary way. I mean, that's not to say I've never been caught out. Obviously, I've been caught out on occasion. I mean, like actually, but he was obviously a bit strange. You know, and you know, people people did know what he was doing, and they just turned a blind eye.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a terrible cliche, but it only takes good for evil to triumph. It just requires good men or women to say nothing. You know, and so there are an awful lot of supposedly good people who just weren't saying anything.
Yeah, and that's right.
You know, I must admit, I am a royalist, but I was never. That Fergie and that Prince Andrew thing, I never liked that. You know, there was something not quite right about either of them. So, I mean, you know, obviously, I just think it's been very silly, to put it mildly. I mean, that's being polite, you know. But loads of people knew Epstein. It wasn't just him. I mean, there was a whole pile of them. Clinton, you know, I mean, even Trump, to be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, they all knew him. To say they couldn't have possibly known what he was doing.
I know, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, if I was 18 and I could tell what Chris Denning was doing, you know, and I was 18, I think everybody else could have told what Chris Denning and Jonathan King were doing, and Epstein and everyone else.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, I was told, I mean, I've said this a lot of lately because it's become important in other business and stuff that I'm doing. But my grandparents told me, if I'm ever asked to do anything I don't agree with, don't do it.
Absolutely.
Under any circumstances, if it meant walking out on the job, walk out on it. Because fortunately, I come from a prosperous middle class family, so I wasn't constrained, and that's the point. And secondly, if you see something that's wrong, say or do something about it.
Yes, I agree.
You know, that's what I was taught, and
Yeah.
I think it's cost me a lot of money. Fortunately, it doesn't matter, but it certainly cost me career opportunities, if I can put it like that.
Yeah, because and that's where it's all wrong, because you know, like yourself, because you're an extremely good musician, and I mean, your music is fantastic, to be honest, and you know, you've been doing it a long time, and obviously you can't gig at the moment and stuff like that, but you know, there's nothing beats a gig. Do you know, even now with you, I bet you love doing it.
Actually, to be honest, I've gone off it now. I mean, the music scene attracts people for the wrong reasons. For like the Savile and the Jonathan King, and you know, they tend to go look at the sex, drugs, and rock and roll aspect of it.
Yeah.
I'm far more high-minded than that. I wanted to make records. You know, I wanted to make beautiful music. I wasn't interested in whether I got groupies or, you know, made loads of money or became famous or anything. I just enjoy making records. And that's not what a lot of these people go into it for. I mean, a lot of them are, you know, to be fair, not. You know,
Well, they are, yeah, but they're not even musicians. A lot of them. That's the thing.
No.
You know, because the pop world now is a very different place to what it was way back in your time, because you know, it's all electronic, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's the very thing I was going to say. Back in 1970, if you look at the top 10 or top 20 of the charts back then. It was a much more varied. I mean, I didn't like a lot of it, you know, but it was, you got Jimi Hendrix next to Cilla Black.
I know.
You know, you've got a real variety.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I mean, it's just, well, I think we've talked about this before, but I mean, it's just tune-based music.
Yeah.
And that's because all of it, when I started, you could go from one record label to another. If you didn't like it, you'd go to another one. And these days, you've only got the choice of Universal, WEA, and Sony. You know, that's a cartel. That's not capitalism. That's corporatism. You know, unless you fit in. I mean, I like the Dua Lipa new record. There's a couple of records she's made. The Dua Lipa.
Yeah.
That's quite nice. You know, I mean, they're not the greatest thing I've ever heard, but they're the best thing I've heard lately. But you look at the credits on it, on how many people are working on every record.
Yeah.
It's like an army.
Yeah.
You know, 6 people writing the songs. You know, 5 people mixing it. You know, 3 producers. I mean, it's just ridiculous. You know, I mean, records always were expensive to make. I mean, there's no such thing as working class kids making records. I mean, back in the day, you had to be in middle class just to buy a guitar, for heaven's sake. You know, but these days it's so corporate and just.
Well, it's also driven. It's also driven by culture, isn't it? As well, in relation to, you know, a lot of music out there that is aimed at certain ways that people are. It's like it's what I would call you know, like rap or
It's marketing.
yes, completely. And then you've got shows like X Factor, which I think I spoke to you about before as well. But you know, which devalue in a way, because you know it's not always their voices you hear, is it?
Well, the only thing I would say about those programs is that people don't generally know about it. It's like Opportunity Knocks. Opportunity Knocks was really a show to showcase acts that could go on the club circuit.
Yeah.
So you had all those working men's clubs in the day. It was really for agents to put people on the circuit. And nowadays, it's all on the ship. What do you call it? Cruise ship.
Yeah.
And so the X Factor and all that stuff are really aimed for getting performers to the cruise ship. That's what it's really about.
Yeah.
So if that's what you want to get into, you know, get into it. But I certainly don't. Anyway. So
But it's interesting. Like places like Butlins, they do these adult weekends where they have enormous amount of people from the past in the like 60s or 70s or 80s or 90s. Lots of bands still going. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. In America, they have, I don't know if you've heard of it, but they've got the Blues House.
No, I haven't heard of that.
No, it's this huge network called the Blues House. They're quite big clubs with some fitted PAs. And, you know, vast numbers of people, you know, just go through the Blues House system. I mean, in England, we've always been a little bit less funky, if you like, than America. So Butlins is the one that sort of provides for that. But there are loads of people that you just go and sort
Well, Duran, I know somebody who used to do all their sound, all their sound. He used to cut up all their soundtracks and all sorts and put things together. And I used to know somebody. Well, I still do know somebody that did a lot of sound work for Duran, which of course, which are still going, and they're massive in America.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. It was that Ordinary Day record, I think, that got them back on the move again. But, yeah, there are loads of bands. It's amazing when you look in America just how many bands that we think are dead, gone, are actually just working the blues house scene. And you can just go from, you know, Annapolis to, you know, Springfield to San Francisco to Kansas to... You name it, all these cities all over America where they put a blues house and people are just circulating around. Again, they're playing the gigs. But I have to say, I've got off the gig thing, really. I mean, the money's in playing gigs, to be fair. That's where the money is. But it's a pretty tough life.
It is, yeah. People think it's glamorous and all sorts. It's not glamorous, is it?
No, not at all. I don't know whether I've told you this joke that I heard. That was David Bowie was playing, I don't know, a working man's club, and he went up to somebody, backstage and said, "Excuse me, my man," because that's how he really spoke. Could you tell me where the toilets are? And this bloke pointed at the sink down the end of the corridor and said, "Well, mate, if it's good enough for Shirley Bassey, it's good enough for you."
Yeah, yeah. David Bowie, he was a character, wasn't he? You met David Bowie as well, didn't you?
Well, actually, I know Robert Fripp. I've known him since I was 16, but I'd never met Bowie.
All right.
To be honest with you, I think there was a cocaine culture.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really, I was the wrong person to invite to cocaine parties, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be saying anything good about it. A couple of lines, all right, fair enough. But a lot of studio record companies provided them with bowls of cocaine.
I know.
It's really, really wrong, And I can kind of understand. If you're working these crazy hours and you've got to find all that energy for a gig on a Wednesday night in Birmingham, you can kind of understand that you need something to get you going. I can follow that.
Yeah.
So it's not a good idea, is it? And I realise now, actually, in retrospect, that I went to various meetings like that, or where there were people such as David Bowie, and they were all very cagey and edgy. And I realise now they were all off their heads on cocaine, and I wasn't.
Yeah. You went on tour with Hot Chocolate.
That's right. Yeah, that was my big moment, if you like. That was my biggest moment. It was 54 days. That wasn't glamorous. Playing all these 1,000 seats at the end of, the Odeons and the Go Mops and all that. You go backstage and it was all damp and all that. But not having said that, when you're playing, it's great, obviously, and it was fantastic. 54 days when they're all brown. Straight before they're all brown. 54 in about 6 weeks.
That's unbelievable, isn't it? You must have been exhausted at the end of it.
Okay.
You must have been.
I was. I don't think it did my health much good in retrospect. I was talking to a sound man, actually. He was a really nice guy, set up all the rig and all that kind of stuff. And I said to him, "God, I'm exhausted. Do you think I should take something?" And he said, "Don't do it." all the sound guys were doing speed, to the poor man's cocaine,
Yeah.
It just makes the teeth fall out, frankly. So
Yeah, I suppose people, because you've been in that, people don't realise that it is a very, very, as you said already, you covered a lot of things. It's very corrupt. It's full of drugs. And that hasn't changed. It's still probably the same, and worse, to be honest, probably.
Yeah, I think it probably is. Because the cocaine is a highly addictive drug. This is the problem. And a bit of weed, okay, it's not addictive. You may get dependent on it, but it's not addictive. But cocaine and amphetamines, it sends you bonkers. It really does. I've seen people who are complete. If you do too much cocaine, you start to
Yeah. Well, Mick Jagger burnt his bone his nose through cocaine use.
Oh God knows what they've done to themselves. Yeah.
But what do you think about? What do you think? I didn't. It's really weird what I'm going to say to you, but I wasn't even aware it was on. That there was an online for the World Health Authority, huge gigs over the course of 6 hours, or whatever, where the Stones and Lady Gaga and lots of people were in. But I didn't know anything about it.
No, in fact, I've just flicked over the TV and it's on now.
Is it? Yeah, all right.
There's just a lot of people chatting at the minute, but the BBC is running it. I don't know what they're chatting about stuff, but it's the same old thing. I'd like to hear some different music. Not, I just don't hear different or new music. It's I'm a bit bored with the whole thing, to be honest. I still like making records. I've just quit the new song. And I'm just getting to the end of recording my current LP. But I really see what I do is it's a bit more painterly, I think the phrase is.
Yeah.
I just like painting pictures. What other people do about it is none of my business.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
It's what I wanted to do, and I mean, I've done it. So you can't ask for more than that, can you?
You can't. You certainly can't. Robert, it's always a pleasure having you on. We are running out of time, unfortunately, as normal. But you know, I have enormous respect for you, young man. You've been an ardent supporter of whatever I've done, whether I was on my old show or this one. You know.
Yeah, well, I'm all for talking.
Absolutely. And it's nice to get a little bit away from the situation that we sit in, which realistically is, well, yeah, you know, it is what it is.
I think it was exaggerated from the beginning. I mean, it's obviously it's a terrible illness and people have died, but it's still only about 5% of deaths that you will get anyway.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think everyone should. I don't think people are going to be able to put up with this lockdown for much longer, from what I understand. It doesn't bother me, but it looks like a lot of people are really struggling with being shut in the house all the time. So,
well, you can understand that. It's if you're stuck with somebody that you don't like, that you have to spend a lot of time with, or you're one parent family with lots of children. You know, I mean, there's all manner of things, aren't there?
You're in a small flat on the 17th floor.
Yeah.
You know, with I think I wrote a song about that. Love's the reason.
Yeah.
It's not easy if you live in a small flat and it's too many people living there and you can't really get out. I mean, that's not. Mind you, it does make you realise that there's a hell of a lot of people that walk around during the day with not for no particular reason.
For no particular reason, yes, absolutely.
Just to get out of the house or whatever it is that they're doing.
Yeah.
It just goes to show.
It does. You're right. Well, you've been absolutely brilliant. If anyone wants to catch up with you, and have a look at your music, have a listen, or connect with you or whatever, obviously they can connect with you on Facebook and that. But you're Author House Records, aren't you? Art House Records. Sorry.
You should know that by now.
I should. Yeah. My God. Yeah. Art House Records.
Yeah, go and have a look at the music, listen to the music there.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's really good. You had one come up on a dancey one, a very dancey one, which with a nice video with it and that as well. I thought it was absolutely.
Yeah, Hole in My Heart. Yeah.
I thought that was brilliant. I really did.
You played that on Fusion. When it was that Fusion program, I forgot it was called Fusion. It was ages ago.
It was ages ago, but it still sounds fresh.
Yeah, it does. I think you're right. It is a catchy one. People do like it. It was deliberately meant to be a poppy sort of song.
Yeah.
I don't write that stuff all the time, but you know, there you go.
Well done, and stay safe, Robert. And when we will get you on again in a not too distant future.
That'd be great.
And it's always, and give my regards to your mum as well. And all stay safe. All right. Thanks, Robert.
Okay.
No problem. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. There's Robert. What a lovely guy he is. Been on the show many times. Yeah. Apparently, I've just had a message come through here that 180 online lessons per week will be made available for pupils from reception to year 10. So that is from Monday. So as he was saying. We have got Mario up next. This has been, I'm sorry you didn't get Helen. I have to find out. I hope she's okay and everything. We've got Mario Morris up next. Now, Mario Morris is a magician. He's a philosopher. He's a very interesting guy. And he's on the show tonight. And here he is. Hello, Mario.
Hey, Clint, how are you doing?
How are you, Mario?
I'm good. I'm really good. Just listening to. I was trying to work out how to watch you and talk to you at the same time, but it ain't gonna happen.
No. Well, it's there is a playback on it. You can go back to any point anyway.
Yeah. But at the same time, there's that.
Yeah.
Moment of delay.
I've noticed. Not bad at all. And you know, I have a lot of respect for you and V. You know, you're lovely people. I met you a long time ago. And, you know, all of us have ups and downs and all sorts of that. But we're all still here and we meet up again after a long time, which is really good. You know, I mean, you're a magician, first of all, but you also run, I know, a magician school. and I know that you're a great philosopher as well. And I know that you've moved recently. You're in a place that is absolutely beautiful, miles out of nowhere. And I know you've been putting films on Facebook Live on YouTube or not YouTube, on Facebook, films and all sorts and that, where you are. And I'm going to play some of them, over the coming weeks on my Thursday show, because I think some of it's really interesting.
Yeah, well, we're stockpiling a lot of stuff at the moment, and the place we're at, it is beautiful. It's so very fortunate to be here, but at the same time, it's a bit of a golden cage.
Yeah.
Because we didn't choose to come here as such. It's the site we were on. We got shut down and effectively forced off. Just before everything came to lockdown. But yeah, we just headed to the hills of Wales in retreat, so in that sense.
But you found something, because the universe said, well, okay, you're not there, and obviously you didn't probably know where you're going to go, and then something turned up.
Yeah, that's right. And the community we've got here is, we're learning a lot. There's, we've got permaculture going on. We've got foraging in, so more than 80% of our food is being produced, literally going out there. And right now, the greens are amazing, so there's this beautiful food we had, wild falafel.
Wow.
We've even been able to chance a visit down to the beach. When I say visit, we're going down there and harvesting lava bread and cockles and all sorts of bits and pieces back.
That sounds idyllic. That sounds really good.
Yeah. It's like I say, it's that golden cage, because my heart's still out there. My heart's still on the street. I'm a street performer.
Yeah.
That's my background. I love people. I love watching people. I love studying people. That's the magic of life for me, is to see.
And it's the interaction as well. I know what you mean. It's the when I go out and do readings, I love it, because you meet people and you network and you meet other people and all sorts. I know that you were a big magician convention, weren't you, before this as well?
Yeah. 3,500 magicians gathered together.
Wow. And you can never stop learning from each other either, can you?
No. It's just, as grown-ups at toys to the early hours of the morning. I could be taken in any direction, couldn't it? So, but
I mean, has that happened when you learn something? Obviously, you have a code of disciplines. You can't say how you do things. Obviously, I know that. But when you want to learn something, is it something you have to practice over and over again until you get it right?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, there's several different areas in the world of magic. I would say it's probably about seven different areas. From stage to close-up magic. There's an area that we call self-working magic effects. So these are tricks, gimmicks, if you like. And are you talking? Hello?
Yeah. And then of course they. Sorry, I was just listening to you. Yes. And then it can move up. It can move into the world of, like, David Copperfield and Dynamo, who's recently coming back on television. Which, I mean, when you watch some of these things, I mean, and
Mario Morris,
Mario Morris, of course. But obviously, I mean, the one thing I've seen some of the stuff you do, it's quite remarkable. It's there 1 minute, it's gone the next, then it pops up somewhere else. You know what I mean? And that's not your tricks, no. And it's really interesting, because as a magician, when you watch someone like Dynamo, I mean, when you watch it, because you're in a code of conduct, so there is an element of a knowledge behind certain things, and magic is about. It is an illusion, isn't it? It's happening, but not happening at the same time.
Well, it's an interesting factor. I think we've been around this one.
We have, yeah, I know.
It's literally, what is real magic? To
Yeah.
me, real magic is creating a magical moment in people's lives. It's creating.
I do that. I do that in what I do in shamanic work. The same. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it. So if you take the history of magic or magicians back to its early roots, and you would have found them around the fire, and you would have found them creating those stories, those tales, creating those magical moments in people's lives, and helping people taking their lead and transforming it into gold. So so it's a good exchange. It's a good medium in that sense. And you've got various different stages. Most people who start off in magic, they start off as a trickster.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're like tricking people. Who likes to be tricked? And then they go from the trickster, and they may move through to the area of the magician, if you like, someone who's creating magic with meaning, creating story and tale. And magic becomes a lot more profound. No different to storytelling. Creating a magical story in someone's life can create that. Or, like you say, shamanic work.
Or even reading a book. When you read a book, you'll get magic from it.
Yeah. But the same breath, with our, as the magic that I do. One of the things I also love doing is helping people step into the fullness of their own dreams, goals, ambitions.
Power, yeah.
So it's that's what we do in our school. So the school's very much about individuals and what they want to achieve, what they want to go, and where they want to go. And I think in the current time, the current moment that we're in, never has there been a time where fair energy exchange has become more, it's become more relevant.
Yeah.
So, like I said, you were talking about the people that we've got up here. Their story, individuals. Like there's one guy, the video we're talking about. He's a guy called Ben Spice. And he's a master chef, trained chef, but he's also a forager. So you can imagine following this guy around. What he knows is not, what he doesn't know is not worth knowing.
Yeah.
Foraging. However, his skills are largely they've been hidden in the woods. The general public tend not to know about these things. We don't get to hear about these things until now. Now is the time where I think the wheel is turning, and if you like, nature is coming home.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm quite
I agree
about that.
I agree.
That's the silver lining.
Yeah. It's not about the fear of what we're in, because it's a lot of it is a made up shambolic load of old rubbish. I know people are dying, which I'm not taking that. I'm not saying that for anything other than a comment, but in a situation that we have normally, you would have a lot of people that would not be here through various illnesses, flu, virus, all manner of different things. People die, people born, people die. But at the end, with what you're doing, because we live in this isolated place, and this is the interesting factor, because you know yourself, because what you do, you work in an energization of light and magic, which is magic, and when people come to you, they really don't know what they do want, probably, and then you have to unravel them to find out what it is core centered, in other words, the root of themselves, to be able to plug into what it is that they need to do. Do you know what I mean?
Totally. I mean, ultimately, they do have the answers, but as workers, if you like, or as working with individuals, at least in my own practice, I know yourself as well, while helping them find their own answers, which they already have within inside themselves. So in that sense, we become mirrors. We're reflecting back on them. And, very much so. And that, to me, that's just a privilege to be part of that journey with someone and seeing them also if they hold on to that vision and they implement it and make it happen. At the end, it's like, watching someone punch a hole in the moon.
Yeah.
Just in regards to a potential breakthrough they may have. So, yeah, totally.
I know, and it's quite interesting. I always remember I went to London Olympia a long time ago, years and years ago, where I it was one of his mind, body, and spirit fairs, big one, and I went to this workshop where there was a shaman magician. Well, he was really unbelievable that we did, and that was, he got us into a zone, not hypnotically or anything, but he got us into a zone where everyone, and there was ages there from like 20 through to about 80. He had 2 breeze blocks, and he had a bit of what can only be described as very thick formica. And he told us that you've got to write on the back of this formica, and you give a little piece, not a big piece, give him a little piece, and he tells you what is it that's stopping you achieving what you want to do in life, or what is the things that you're holding on to. And you write it all on the back of this thing, and then you go up, and then you actually karate it with your fist, chop it in 2, break it. And that was incredible. All of them did it. Another thing they did was they had an arrow they put on a board up against someone's throat, and they told you to walk into it. And naturally, your brain's telling you not to. And it bends and breaks, obviously. But the last thing they did was they brought out a glass, all broken glass on sheets, and you had to walk across it to leave barefoot. And that was quite remarkable. That didn't feel like glass at all. But that's the zone you get in. And that is about the crossover. What I'm trying to say, I suppose, really, is with what we are talking as we are right now. But when you're in the zone of what you do, you're creating an ambience for them to rest in. Do you know what I mean? And cultivate.
Yeah. That's right.
So, Magic School itself, what for instance, I mean, not that I wanted to give away too much, but if someone came to you, what would you do? What I know I'm not going to say what would you do with them, because obviously it would be down to them, but what would you offer them to be able to help them on that journey to, this is not just about magic, it's also about the empowerment, isn't it? It's also about building and boosting confidence, self-esteem, all manner of different things.
Well, our work has been going through a transition, and it's been going through a transition in the sense that it has become a lot more spiritual, if that's the right choice of words. It has always had that edge, but I kind of fell in love with the process of seeing people step into their goals, their dreams, their ambitions. As I keep on repeating, but I literally did. I literally fell in love with that process, and now we're running underneath the banner of magic wizardry. The old day was called the School of Busking. That still exists. And what we do is we provide courses. One of our focuses is, for example, street theatre, street performing and busking. And that's a 3-day focus where students who perhaps are in the world of magic, we have circus performers and storytellers, that kind of, and they want to apply their skills or transfer the skills off the stage and onto the streets, which is a whole different kind of theatre in itself.
Yeah.
The audience gets to see behind the curtain as such. There's no place to hide.
No.
There's no green room. Your changing rooms in the car park. It's a whole different ball game, whole different kind of fish. But however, so in that process, what we're doing, so each individual is responsible for their own show. So I'm not teaching them how to do a show, but rather they're bringing their show to the weekend course. And I'm kind of, we go through the theory, we go into breakout groups, we go into practice, we go into rehearsal, and we're already on day 2 by now. And the last day is going out there and doing it for real on the streets.
Yeah.
And that's where they develop their chops and they have the huge breakthrough. But one thing which they all have in common, and this is consistent, as you can imagine, this is quite challenging if you've never done a street show.
Immensely challenging, yeah.
Yeah, And so you get all these students. Sometimes some of them are more experienced than others. One thing for all, everyone's trembling. Everyone's kind of like, what have I got myself involved in? And then during those 3 days, this comradeship that's formed and developed because of they're all stepping out and taking these huge risks together. And of course, the final outcome is I did it. So
Yeah.
you see them go, and very much similar to what you just said. That's their rite of passage. They're walking through the broken glass, or burning coals. This is their challenge, and at the end of it is this transformational experience they have. And the relationships, friendships that are formed as a result of that experience goes on. The first one I ever run was in 2006, and all the students back then are still friends of mine to this day. You know, we have students coming back, so on. So that got us thinking: is how can we use that experience and begin to create a more, a broader spectrum that invite more people into, so they can go through their own transformational experience in their own personal life. So we started working with the elements, air, fire, water, and earth, and drawing up fire circles, bringing story and narrative and magic into that, creating a real magical container. So, when we're in Glastonbury, we're taking them around the tour and various different points that were around the tour, and honouring and recognising and honouring the various elements there, and literally going through this similar journey. It's like a parallel journey to what we created in the School of Basking, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it sounds absolutely fascinating, because you're doing a combination of factors. Really, you're bringing out the gift that they have within them, because we all have gifts, or blessings, if you like, and you're empowering them, because it is about, whatever anyone says, it is about discarding the garbage, because that's what clogs us up. Do you know what I mean? And that can be anything from historical elements, from fears, as well as problems we've had in our experiences. And this is where it roams into spiritual, because you get them to clear that by actually becoming themselves. Do you know what I mean?
That's it. Yeah. It's just, and it's their journey as well. So in that sense, I'm a firm believer that you are the best expert of your own life.
Yeah.
And that's a starting point, is that each individual. So it's like when we gather around fire, everyone's equal around that fire. There's and we, again, everyone's welcomed and everyone's equal. All halves, this is a bizarre thing. I don't want to digress here. This is the bizarre thing. So right now we've got this the status quo of kind of this political correctness, which is swinging around. And a lot of people getting backed at because their opinion is perhaps different to someone else who's adopted.
Been there before, because in relation to what we're doing, it's speaking out, and you're looking at clear mistakes, clear things that all you're doing is you're trying to open up the gaps that exist for people to see in, and say, have a look at that, see what you think of that. I don't think that's right because of XYZ. Do you know what I mean? Because it's littered with issues, all of it. And as soon as this came out, I knew it's not real, and it isn't real. I take, people don't agree with me. It doesn't matter. It's my opinion. But the fact is, I say, go and look at these things. Go and look at the fact that we're supposed to take something serious where we're locked in a prison cell, or many people locked in a prison cell, but they're still flying in 15,000 people a day with no checks. So is it really that serious? Sorry.
It's all good, but here's the thing that I'm finding kind of, sort of what's going on in America right now. you got this kind of like it's just like
Yeah.
people taking to the streets
Yeah.
and protesting, and I find that kind of very interesting,
Yeah.
kind of refreshing.
Yeah.
Am I saying the right things? But,
No, it's evolution. It's not revolution, it's evolution.
But in the same breath, because I do a fair bit of work, each year for the last 10 years, we've been flying to Vegas. And as the result, we've got a lot of friends who are in the States.
Yeah.
And there's, the language that I'm hearing used, and this is what's great with that, these groups are on the street. I said we've had enough of these lefties, cordial, if you like.
Yeah.
We've had enough of this. We want this, and I'm like, whoa. This is common ground, folks. This is common ground. We all have this in common. This is not about the left. This is not about the right. If you're going down that route, I believe you're barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah, completely.
This is far bigger than the left or the right. And there's that old saying, the left and the right wing belongs to the same bird. But I think that doesn't mean I embrace or endorse Trump's ethics in any shape or any form. But looking at these guys on the street, or these folk rather on the streets, it's kind of like, when it comes down to a common ground, then nobody has a monopoly on that.
No.
It's just like, it's not, so and I think it's important to realise that it's okay. We're in a very fortunate position, like you highlighted, where, we've got a bit of a community up here. And because of that, there's 12 people here, and various people living in various tiny homes, and some people might be totally terrified of the pandemic. Others are not so. However, we're a community of people. We've all been practicing social distancing and just being respectful of other people's boundaries. But what's unique here, and it took me a while to realise, is every week we gather around a stone circles here, and we will correspond, and we will communicate, and we will talk to each other like we used to do before this or this occurred.
Yeah.
And it struck me that must be quite rare at this moment in time. And that's what I think we need to listen, and we need to allow each other to express our thoughts and express our concerns, as well as perhaps express our indifferences. And together, this is where we will find this common ground.
Yeah.
But right now, I feel like I can't ignore the fact that I feel like we're being dictated to, and freedom of speech and that freedom of expression, which will educate us and empower us and give us a clear way forward. As such, we're just being spoon-fed. The next scare, the next chapter, and the next one is what? I just read very recently that Japan has been revisited with the second phase of the of an outbreak. It's like just turn up the gear again. But ultimately, communication, listening, being part of community—that's what we're about.
Yeah,
that's what we need to be about. So,
I totally agree, and thank God the internet is there for us to interconnect. I mean, that one of the reasons I'm doing this show, and started doing this show, was to bring people together to talk and say whatever they want to say, because there's no right. I'm not going to have arguments with people. If people have views, they have views, and it's finding a common ground. It's finding compromise. It's looking at different situations, but you know, there is not just one or two people. There is a massive growing army of people that completely and utterly understand that what we sit in here and the world is complete and utter garbage, to be honest. And whether it doesn't matter. I know that there is very extreme views out there, go very right wing and all sorts. I'm not interested in all of that. I'm interested in the truth. And if people don't tell me the truth, I'm going to come on here and say, I don't think that's right because I don't think it's right because of X, Y, Z. Because I'll express that. That's you know, the opinion. But the problem is, people, even like you, like me, like millions of people that are doing something out there right now, there will come a time here, if we're not careful, where they will not let you do that. Do you know what I mean?
I do. However, I personally think it's going to fail.
Yeah, completely.
But I don't think it's going to. It's certainly long term. It's going to fail. I'm hoping. So that's, in my mind, it's call it what you wish, but light, source, democracy, whatever you want to call it, is far stronger than that.
Yeah.
So
and it comes down to people that lead or people that don't. I mean, Donald Trump, a lot of the time he's very strong in some ways, but he's a buffoon in others because, you know, he's so rude and arrogant when he stands up, and, you know, he doesn't, if you don't like a TV station, you won't talk to him. I don't talk to you, you know, and that's rude, you know. But, you know, his mixed message, it's the same as here. Look, people are on the edge of their seats, not me or you, but there are people in this country that sit on their edge of the seats waiting to see what these ministers are going to say. And they don't really say very much because they say the same thing. Oh, we haven't got any PPE. Oh, we aren't doing tests. We're going to ramp tests up. And then it don't happen. And, you know, after a while, and then all these people being flown in, there's all these people being flown over from abroad to go and pick fruit when there's loads of people here. And, you know, you start thinking, there's something desperately wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And we're not stupid people. We're not sheep. We're educated people.
I do welcome these. I do. You know. In the same breath, I do very much welcome these airplane full of Romanians coming here to pick our fruit for us. I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, I do. I'm not saying. I'm not saying. I don't mean it as it sounded. Sorry, but you know, in lots of ways, there is so many people here. Where is an advert on television saying, "Get hold of this"? There's nothing. You know, nobody's given an opportunity. That's the thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Debbie Johnson says.
Interesting times.
Debbie Johnson, who's listening, says, great show tonight, great guests. Had a little plane circling my house for ages tonight during your show. Went outside to give them a wave. Was a helicopter 2 nights ago. Something really not right. Yeah, I've had helicopters over my place here as well, to be honest. It's interesting. Look, we live in a world that to be honest, I mean, I researched loads and loads of things, and I could sit here and tell you millions of things, but I'm not going to. But the world is a different place to what we imagine, as you know yourself, and V and that as well. I mean, where you are is a bit like I would say where you sit now. Where I sit, I'm out in a place like you in a way, but it's just me and my son. But where you are is a bit like the aftermath. Do you know what I mean? No, the aftermath after something's happened, where there's a small community gathered, and you're learning the ways that were learned long time ago. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. It's in that sense, from our perspective, it's kind of the universe has guided us here, and we are at a place. Well, that's one of the reasons. One of the things I'm doing. I know I've got the community. They're quite happy for me to document what I'm seeing here. I'm going to be following foragers. I'm going to be following these alternative routes, and just be making it, making it spreading the word, if you like.
Yeah.
And the amount of stuff we're learning as well. So it's just like we've been on that little bit of a journey ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so.
And well, it's about energies as well, because we are walking frequency and vibration energy, and I would feel that you are now sitting in probably the best place you've sat ever right now.
Well, ironically, with all of this, I mean, this might not be, but from my own perspective, life has never been better.
Yeah.
So, I mean, right now, life has never been better, but that might sound a bizarre thing to say.
No, it isn't, because you found your elixir. You found something. In amongst chaos, you found something.
The other day, we had a little gathering, and the ladies here, she was from Holland. She was going to show us around the forest garden, and show us, help yourself to this, help yourself to kale, help yourself to that. Of course, I dashed back to my caravan to get a notepad and a book, notepad and pen.
Yeah.
And I rushed back, and I stopped mid-flow, rushing across this field. And I thought, oh, I'm rushing.
Yeah.
I've done that for about 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember that experience. I remember doing that every single day. I remember that being the theme of my life.
Yeah.
And I stopped myself and I had a little giggle, because I was thinking, and of course I got there and no one else had arrived anyway. I was almost the first one there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
But that is right, because we have been. I've said this on the show many times, but to a degree, with the life we had before this, that is never going to be the same again. That's gone, and we can only progress in a much more diverse, more community cultured way. And obviously, that is with people waking up and understanding what's happening and everything, which is not an easy journey. But we do sit in a place where we are trying, with inside ourselves, the what we sit in relation to this. I mean, not me or you, but many people is a waking up, slowly evolving. Do you know what I mean? Into what they're meant to be, because before, most of the workforce are slaves. Clock, laptop,
Right.
phone. And I know I used to work in corporate world, and I used to go to 5 or 6 meetings a day, and there's loads of action plans, and you can never do anything because you can never have time to write it up. Do you know what I mean? And that's the madness. It's completely out of control. And right now we live in a time where the clock doesn't matter. Doesn't matter anymore. Doesn't matter, does it?
No, it doesn't. But we are seeing a huge transition. We are seeing a huge change, and I think you're right. It's not only evolving, we get more information, and more things are coming to light. As more things are coming to light, more things are being exposed.
Yes.
And I think people are beginning to wake up and recognize it. Crikey, I've been wearing shackles.
Yeah.
I was comparing, so like some of the folk here who've got, just a real effective yet simple way of life.
Yeah.
But yet very simple yet effective. There's one chap here who's got very little money in his pocket. He said, he mentioned to me, I'm sure he would, he mentioned, he said, I've got £6 to name, Mario.
Yeah.
And he said it with this, proud grin on his face. He eats like a king. He eats, he's healthy. He's working every day. He's strong as an ox, and he's working the land. And you compare him right now to some CEO or some person who's got real estate or all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Perhaps money, perhaps and who's the wealthiest?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And and this is where true wealth begins.
Yes, because wealth comes from within, by what you feel, what you believe, and it goes by the trust. It's a bit like your journey. I mean, I your journey hasn't been an easy one in relation to moving around, doing all that. I've had all that in my life, and what you do is you trust. You put faith and trust in. Okay, well, this finishes, so something else will start, and then it does, because there's a series of events, a domino effect that happen to make it happen. And, we don't need money to do that. It's about ourselves, and it's about the belief and the understanding. The problem is, I mean, as Matthew John just put in, the problem what we've got on the earth right now, certainly in this country, is the there is, and there has been for a long time. Go back to Brexit, there was division. Go back to the general election, there's division. Come to this, there's division, because there's people that are saying things, as you said earlier on, that they don't agree with, because they think that everything they're told is true. So, that divide will come together. But, it's very much about the understanding of the people to help. I mean, I help people all the time, like you. If you can help people, you do help people. Do you know what I mean? And, it's not about money. It's about intention. It's about belief. It's about what you feel inside. I mean, you two, I met both of you long time ago. You're lovely people. The energy you carry is immense. And, like me, like you, like millions of people, we're dealt blows at times. But as we're dealt blows, we go down there and we look at things, and then we get back up and say, okay, well, let's get on with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's like never has there been a time when that's so true, isn't there?
Yeah.
You begin to see your own skill sets and yeah.
But the need of things. You see, the problem is that we live in a society that people need things. They're not used to sitting indoors. They're cooped up. They might be working on a laptop at home, working at home or whatever, and their wife's at home, or their partner or whatever, or they might not have a partner and might have kids. But if there's partners and all sorts of home, there's division because they're not joining, because they don't see each other, because they don't know how to communicate with each other. Communication being the key word. Do you know what I mean? And communication is the key. We should have programs on TV. I'm not joking, and it sounds like paint by numbers, but there should be programs on TV that are on prime time on a channel that, please watch this, because we'll help you overcome any pitfalls or whatever you might have within relationships, being at home, the issues, the problems, and you can ring in. Let's create something where people can actually, say, all right, I can call these people. Let's talk to them. Not go and sit and relate or anything like that. But it's about emerging and converging here, isn't it? It's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy. And there is, for something to be good, this yourself, Mario, and V does as well. And I say this all the time to very spiritual people, or people that work in the light. To be where you are now, that journey is not. You haven't got a spoon. It hasn't been given to you. It's a journey where you are taken down to the depths, literally in the depths of a massive hole that you have to get out of. And as you climb out of that hole, you start to refocus your energies on yourself by the resilience and resolve that you show within inside yourself to do it. And then you build belief. But then we have it taken away. And then we build belief. Then we have it taken away. Then we build belief. But every time we build belief, we get stronger.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense, but
It does. It does. It's just like you pulled my heartstrings then in various different directions.
Yeah.
But you know, so one I can talk, you know, but yeah, my heart really goes out to, you know, that's where this whole fiasco is showing its weakness, in the sense that we have so many vulnerable people who are locked away in these, you know, so like tower blocks in a perhaps one small bedroom flat in the middle of nowhere, you know, or in a tower block, and or people locked away with someone, as I heard you say earlier, so perhaps with someone they don't like, or worse, domestic abuse and so on. And you know, so in that sense, it doesn't add up. Where can people find those anchor points?
Yeah,
you know, it's you know, you know, it's a real refiner's fire. It's you know, so something's got to give.
It has.
Give way there, and sorry.
It has. You're right, because situation where people are starved of civil liberty, where people are starved of food, where people are starved from money, where people are starving and worried about how they're going to pay bills, how they're going to pay mortgages, how they're going to pay rent, and they're still waiting for money to come through. And they're on phones trying to sign on, trying to do this, nobody's helping them because there ain't no one there. These people eventually get to a point where they say, well, my child is not going to starve. I'm going to go and get some food. And this is what's the rumblings of what we got over in America are the rumblings. I mean, I know the British people are not people that take up arms and do whatever. I'm not saying take up arms, but rebel. But you know, we are in an immensely difficult and very dangerous situation. There's a powder keg that I feel is sort of smouldering at the moment, and I do feel that what we have in the guidance by those, not I don't believe any of them, but the people that do, are hanging on their words, because they're thinking we're all holding the British spirit and it's stiff upper lip and everything else. Their patience will wear thin, and when their patience wears thin, what I see here is the government, if they don't do something, are going to push people into a civil disobedience.
These, you know, yeah, it's interesting laws that have been changed, because once these rules rather have come into place, then ultimately we, you know, the state, if you like, we all potentially become lawbreakers.
Yes.
You know, i.e., if you don't socially comply to that order, or even if you're now, we've gone into the age of you know, a curtain twitching dilemma. You know, where people are actually, you know, spying on their neighbours and you know, all the rest of it, reporting them, and you've got this language which has been put out.
I know.
Catch your neighbour and what have you. But we've all become incarcerated by these rules. So effectively, becoming a criminal now, or becoming someone who's a lawbreaker, or is not being PC, those goalposts have been shifted massively. And that again, you know, in it's always fed the state, it's always fed the country. You know, having prisoners. We are prisoners of in that sense. So, you know, but you know, I guess they just need more convictions, don't they? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we would get. It's been fascinating talking to you. Yes, totally. Yeah, completely. We will have to wrap it up because I've got one more guest to come on. But and you know, Mary, I always find you absolutely fascinating when I have you on, because you give different perspectives, different understandings, and that's what this show's about. And I like that, and all guests do it. You know, to be fair, given their different different take, different whatever. I've got no script. I don't know what I'm going to ask you, and we just roll with it. Do you know what I mean? And I do feel that, you know, your voice, you have a very good voice, and I've seen your videos, and I do feel, you know, you and V are very special people in this reality. So it's lovely. It's lovely to be connected to you, young man, and V.
Thank you.
And we will. I'd like to get your.
A little article here.
Okay.
I got this little article. It's from a book, and it's and the book, I can't remember. It's well, yeah, it's written by well, let me just get that. Can I read it to you?
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah.
Or would it be better for me to? Yeah. Okay. So it's from a book. Did you really think that we would want those laws to be observed? Said Dr. Ferries. We want them broken. You better get it straight that it's not. Get it straight that it's not a bunch of Boy Scouts you're up against. Then you'll know that this is not the age of beautiful gestures. We are after power, and we mean it. You fellow pikeys. You're a fellow pikeys, but we know the real trick, and you get. So I'm not reading very well here.
No, it's all right. Don't worry.
Better get wise to it. There's no way to rule an innocent man. The only power any government has is the power to crack down on criminals. Well, when there aren't enough. When there aren't enough criminals, one needs to make them. One declares so many things to be a crime that it becomes impossible for men to live without breaking laws. Who wants a nation of law-abiding citizens? What's in that for anyone? But just pass the kind of laws that can neither be observed, nor enforced, nor objectively interpreted, and you'll create a nation of lawbreakers, and then you can cash in on their guilt. Well, that's the system, Mr. Reederman. That's the game. And once you understand it, you'll be much easier to deal with it.
Yeah.
That was. I'm sorry, but it's the Atlas. I've forgotten the author's name.
What's the book called?
The Atlas.
The Atlas, right? Yeah.
Atlas Shrugged. Yeah,
okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I should know his name.
That's all right. Don't worry. It's fine. Don't worry.
Yeah. I got his name. Let's see if I can get that.
Matthew Johns made a few comments who listen to the show regularly. He says, "Why do we need leaders if you need to follow one? Then surely you're still part of a herd. We need to take responsibility for ourselves and our actions. It's called being a man and woman." He goes on to say, "We're so divided. We've got a long way to go." Yes, he says trust is the only true currency, and he also goes on to say that he'd like to see your YouTube videos.
Yeah, well, I am. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I've not actually been following the feeds on the side. I've only just got them up, and I'm trying to get back to you. I should let you get on, shouldn't I, Clint?
Yeah, that's all right. Well, they can get you. Look, anyone wants to get hold of you, they can get hold of you on Facebook, can't they?
Yeah, I am going to start hosting a variety of of these programs. Like I say, I've got the guy's name here for you. I'm going to put that on your wall.
Yeah.
Alan Shrugged, 1987. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I'd love you to come back. I'd love you to come back on.
Yeah. Well,
it's been really interesting. It's been very. It's very thought provoking. I think that it's very interesting. And I think you bring something, as everyone does, something different. Oh yeah, Atlas Shrugged, novel by Ayn Rand. Yeah. Okay. So if Matthew John or anyone else wants to get hold of you, they can get hold of you through Facebook. Mario
that's
Morris.
what I do. Love working with people. If I don't, if I can't help you, then I'm gonna certainly help you find someone that can.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's helping each other to empower each.
I must admit, I'm going to come and see you one of these days because I'd love to learn a bit of magic. I've got magic, but different type of magic. I'd like to learn a bit of magic, to be honest. Different to what I do.
Okay, my man.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much. We will speak to you soon, Mario. Give my regards to V and stay safe.
Cheers, pal.
All right.
Lots of love.
All right. And you. Thanks a lot. Bye. Bye. We've gone way over time with him, but what is time anyway? We live in a concept. I know there are people out there still working all sorts, but I mean, it doesn't really matter, does it? What time is? I thought that was a really interesting conversation. There's somebody I know that he's had a difficult journey, him and V, and he had to go from his situation in Glastonbury where they were staying, and then obviously found this place which is idyllic, and he's in what we call a community, really. His skill sets is enormous, and grateful for him to come on. We have got one more guest, if he hadn't fell asleep or whatever, which is Man for All Seasons, all dimensions and everything else. I hope you enjoy the show tonight. A lot of people said they're enjoying it, which is really, really good. The interview is about bringing in guests and on Sundays. The interview on Thursday is very different. The interview on Thursday is all about you contacting the show. So on Thursday in future, I'm going to talk a little bit, but I'm going to put all the questions out to you because I want your opinion, your understanding, whatever they may be, good, bad, or indifferent, on a Thursday night, to contact me or comment or whatever you like. And we're also going to talk about death, soul transition, and why we fear death. And we'll look at that as well in relation to what's going on Thursday. And here is the man of mystery. Who is the man of mystery tonight? I wonder who this is. Well, it could be a woman of mystery, actually. Hello, who's on the phone to the Inview tonight?
Hello there, Captain Haddock.
Oh, it's Captain Haddock. Yes, we did. I did wonder it might be you, actually, because you actually...
Haddock.
Oh, Captain Haddock. That's it, yes. But you haven't had it, because the last time we spoke to you, you were out on a boat, weren't you?
Yeah, I still am. On a boat, aren't I?
And you've got two ghosts with you, is that right?
Yeah, I got Dave and I got Dave too.
Dave and Dave too, that's right. And you have no idea where you are, do you?
No, we're just around, just a lot of water and around, just keep going around.
Because the last time we spoke, you were going to sit down with them because they just arrived.
Yeah, I know. When I sat down there and tried to have a reasonable conversation with them.
And how did that go?
Well, that went quite strangely. That did.
Did it?
Yeah.
Do they, when they speak, do they speak very sort of ghostly, or do they speak normal?
Well, they speak normally to me. That's what I couldn't understand, see, because normally when you see ghosts on TV and that,
they just go, woo, yeah.
Sort of shit, But no, nothing like that. I mean, they spoke to me normally. They're a little bit behind.
Are they?
Well, yeah, as far as like they're 3 centuries behind.
Well, yeah, they're probably. I mean, what year do they think it is then?
Well, they still think it's 1700.
Crikey!
That's when their ghost ships. You remember, because I was out in my trawler and I used to see him.
And you still
ghost ship, and they come aboard, didn't they?
And you still haven't got any fish?
No, there's no fish around.
Is your supplies running out? It's not his supplies running out. Sounds like his battery is. Hello, are you there, Captain Haddock?
Yeah, I'm there.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. It must have been. I mean, we don't even know what dimension we're talking to you in, do we?
No, I don't know. All I can tell you is there's a sea there, and it's wet. There's plenty of it, and there's no fish. No fish at all.
So, I mean, you haven't caught fish for days.
I ain't going fish for now on a week. No.
Well, that you probably never experienced that in all your lifetime on the sea, have you?
I haven't. No, I haven't.
So what's in the water? Nothing.
No, nothing. It's just water everywhere, and not a drop of drink.
So with Dave and Dave too, are they sort of settled in after a week? These ghosts?
Yeah, they seem to be. They seem to be. You know, they're helping out a bit, but I mean, with their help, still can't catch no fish because there's no fish down there.
Haven't you spoke to them about that?
Well, I'm up in the old cockpit, whatever you want to call it.
Crow's nest. Crow's nest.
No, cockpit, you know, with the steering wheel, not up the bloody crow's nest. I said, Dave, you're up there, I do. But anyway, you know, we was there with the steering, and I was steering straight forward, and what I normally expect with in there, you know, we'll just keep going and going and going. It's a strange stretch of water, it is. I don't know where it is.
Yeah, what colour is it?
Well, it's a little sort of like bluey green sort of colour.
Yeah. And how warm is it? Is it cold or warm there?
No, sort of, you know, sort of temperature sort of thing. It's a bit in between. Ain't cold, ain't warm. Like, you know, it's almost like it was just placed there.
And you might have a few problems there because you might obviously run out of rations. You will, and it's all right for the ghosts because they don't eat, do they? Because it just falls out. And obviously the boat itself will run out. Is it got sails or is it on a motor?
No, it's on a motor, isn't it?
So you might run out of diesel.
Well, I thought I ran out several days ago, but the thing keeps chugging along.
Oh, right.
I understand it.
But is it empty?
Well, you know, it appears to be, but it keeps chugging along. I don't understand it.
Well, that is very odd.
It's very odd. And I keep getting up on the radio. Things are going on here and everywhere on this Inview Show a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I mean that's remarkable because you're not on a phone, are you? You're on your radio on the wall of your cabin.
That's it. I don't understand what's going on. I really don't. But you know, I know this is a big virus thing that's taking over the world, isn't it? You know, and
well, you're not going to get it out there, are you? So you know.
No, I know what all that's about. I do. I know what that's about.
What's all that about then?
Well, everyone a virus around the world. All the debt is white around the world.
Yeah.
Kickstart the economy, the world's economy. Just kickstarts it all again.
Is that a new currency for everyone then?
Yeah, it will be. It will take a few years, but I mean, yeah, that's where it's going to get. That's where it's going to go. Because I know.
Stand still. The signal going. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought a ghost got you for a minute.
No. You know, it's going to be strange in the next few years. It's going to be one world economy. I can see it happening now.
Is that one world government then as well?
Oh, I don't know about that. It doesn't affect me. You're not out here. I don't give a shit.
Well, you don't even know where you are. You might not even be in this reality.
I ain't got a clue. All I know is I went out about a week and a half ago. I sailed out through and I hit this storm and I kept on going through it and I see this ghost ship and there I get back after having a good look around it and that's all. I couldn't find anything really. So I come down and sit down and have a beer or two and then come Dave and Dave too. I don't know what's going on there. I mean, I said, Oi, what do you do there? And he said, we don't know. You go on board ship and I can leave through E. And they said, well, maybe we go to see.
So they're translucent, so you can look straight through them.
Well, yeah, to a certain degree, but I put some proper clothes on them so I can't see right through them.
Oh, right. So you found some clothes for them and all sorts of that. Well, that's good. At least they're not naked ghosts.
No, they're not naked. It's just what they're wearing. You can see right through. You know, I put something black on them.
Yeah. Matthew John says, how do you had it? How do you had it? Is that a thing?
How do I have it? I don't have it, do I?
How do I had it? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't have it, do I?
Because your wife must be getting very worried where you are by now.
She's not obviously not the sharpest tool.
Hello?
I mean,
Don't move. Stay there.
kill it.
There's a bit of interference there. I didn't catch some of that.
What's she on about, Lizzie?
How do you had it?
I don't have it, do I? That's what the whole thing is, you know. It's just a strange name, like it's giving her, birth and that.
So your parents, your dad's name was had it.
Yeah, Ken James had it. That's my name.
And what was your dad's name?
My dad's name was Never. His name was Steve.
Right.
I don't joke here there.
Oh, his name wasn't Never then.
Oh, no.
That'd be an interesting name though, wouldn't it? But it wouldn't be the name, would it? Never had it.
Oh, I know.
So is Steve had it?
Well, he could have had it. I wouldn't know, would I? Well, he must have had it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here, would I?
Well, yeah. Matthew John says, does your wife had it?
My wife? I ain't got wife. My wife's not here. I mean, I did have a wife, but whether she's still faithful with me back on land, I don't know.
Well, she's a lot younger than you as well, isn't she?
Oh, she's here. I mean, I'm 69. And she's like 32, I think.
Blimey, it doesn't matter. Age is only a number, isn't it? But aren't you missing her?
Yeah, of course I am. I miss her fish fingers, don't I?
So, are you not worried where you're going?
No, I'm not worried at all. I mean, we see things around, scanners and that, and they do tell me little bits and pieces, and that, what's going on around the world, and I'm quite happy out here, quite honest.
Well, yeah, you are safe out there anyway, but you might not be in our time zone. You could be in the 1700s.
Yeah, you never know. I really don't know.
You haven't come across any land.
Hang on. Some straight over in the.
What's going on?
Something just flashed out of the water onto the bait, onto the what do you call it? Onto the deck.
Well, you got something that jumped out the sea that's flashing. That's now on your deck of your boat.
It won't flash it. It just jumped out. Yeah.
Is it a fish?
So, hang on. Dave, go and have a look. Yeah.
Is that they talk? They talk like that, do they?
Well, they do. He ain't too sure who they're talking with. He don't know you, do he?
Well, no, that's true. He don't know me. Yeah, I suppose you've got used. He got used to you, haven't they?
Well, got used to me. I can understand their lingo a little bit.
Well, it sounds very old English. A mixture of grunts.
He says it's about 3 foot long.
Yeah.
And it's got like saber teeth out front.
Really?
They're stuck in the deck. Yeah, and it's got these tails and it's got like stickleback on the dock. I think. Bloody hell!
Is that a piranha?
What, 3 foot long?
Well, you could get 3 foot long piranhas, I suppose, if there's some sort of chemical experiment going on in the sea.
Well, I know, but
anyway, there, and oh, it's splashing around a little bit. Hit it on the head, Dave. He's going to hit on the head. That's it. He's hit it on the head. He stopped flapping around a little bit, and we're going to sort of take you down below. It might be the first time you've had to eat for.
Wow. Wait, I mean, at least you can't eat your crew, can you? Because they're dead.
No, we're trying to eat them. What do you think of the airlines? It was crew. Bloody hell. No, not pirate.
So is this like any fish you've seen before, or is it different?
No, it's it's about whether it's a young one or old one or what, but it's about 3 foot long. It's got back off sticker back. You remember them ones who used to get out the pond?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Like that, but it's got fangs that drag down about 1.5 feet out of its mouth.
My God, that sounds ferocious.
It does. It sounds a bit prehistoric to me.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I mean, I don't know where we are. This thing just jumped onto the deck.
Is there any others out there? He might not be on his own.
Oh, he might not be, but I mean, I haven't seen a fish. We haven't seen no fish in days. You know, and all of a sudden, this one jumped out on the deck.
My God, we captured that live on the radio as well. It's quite interesting because if you're in the 17th century, it could be a prehistoric fish, couldn't it?
17th century, what, prehistoric back then? It's only like 400 years.
Well, I know, but you know, I mean, there might be part wherever you are. I mean, you might not be in the 1700s. You might be in prehistoric land.
Well, it could be anywhere, but I ain't seen no pterodactyls flying. But then again, we're not near shore.
Have you seen anything flying?
No.
So,
only that bloody fish under the deck.
So you haven't seen any birds and you haven't seen any fish. So there's no life there apart from yourself and this fish. So what, are you going to cook this fish, are you?
No, I'm just having to work. See the day. Just, what do you reckon? Why? No, just stick them in a cargo hold. It's all right. We'll be all right for 1 or 2 more days left. I've still got a few cans of baked beans and that. We do all right.
Yeah, but they don't eat ghosts, do they?
No, it's a strange thing about it. They don't eat. When I do, I eat. Yeah. The weird thing about it is I ain't had a shit for like 1.5 weeks.
Really?
No. I don't know what's going on there.
Well, maybe that you're turning into a ghost as well.
Well, I ain't got a clue. I don't know, but
Can you see through yourself?
I see through myself. Well, I can't see through myself. Who can see through themselves? Hey, units have got a bloody mirror, a great mirror in front of them. Or a phone taking selfies. Come on. I was looking out in the ocean here, mate.
I'll tell you what you could do with those teeth, is you could take them out and make a necklace of it, couldn't you?
Yeah, well, that's good to be not good, isn't it? Hey, here we are, out in the middle of nowhere. Take the fish teeth out and make me into a necklace.
Well,
that's really going to get me to some island, isn't it?
Well, have you seen any land ahoy yet?
I ain't seen no land at all, no. Not for, a couple of weeks nearly now.
But I mean, you're used to it because you go out on the sea for a long time anyway, don't you?
Well, yeah, I know. Well, I'm getting to a point now where do I need any land? I don't know.
Well, yeah. Well, I suppose you will at some point because you'll need to go and get something to help you go, won't you?
Well, we'll do it. I also need to go out, get a bit of land. And then come back on board, and when I talk to you next time, you say, Captain had it. I said, yeah. What recently?
So you're going, I can vision and see a picture of you in this boat, chugging along in the water with no diesel, even though it's still going.
Yeah, I don't look like Popeye, but
No, no, and I can envisage this silver fish jumping out of the water onto the deck with great big teeth and taking a chunk out of your ship, and I can see these translucent ghosts that got clothes on in black now, and you're downstairs now, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm down in the hold. I am. I'll just chuck it. That's it. That's it.
They're pretty good. They do what you tell them, don't they?
So he's all right. He's at the bottom, and we'll stick a few bits of ice on him, and we'll just carry on.
I'm sure you're going to hit land soon, aren't you?
Well, if we hit land soon, we want to do it in daylight. It's night at the moment.
Well, yeah. Have you got lights on your boat?
Yeah, you got lights, yeah.
But of course you can't see a lot because obviously it's dark.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can see, about 50, 60 feet in front of me, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it. Mm-hmm.
Right.
But, yeah, just wait. Hang on a minute. Something's come up on the sonar.
Has it? What you got on your sonar?
Right, it's a bloody great fish or something like that. Hang on, it's it.
Are you all right, Captain Addict?
Yeah. Oh, shit, that's rocking. Whoa.
What? Did something hit your boat?
Yeah, right underneath. It's just going on a bit further, I think, but he ain't coming back. It's massive.
What is it, like a whale?
Yeah, it looks like a whale. Something like that. Oh, God, yeah.
So you okay? You fell over, did you?
No, I slammed into the side of the cockpit, anyway.
Oh, right.
I had to run upstairs, because it's not a big boat, so get down from the hold up to the cockpit, or whatever you want to call it, steering house, in a matter of 10 seconds, But dude, so that's my exercise. I've got to break the 10-second barrier every day. Wow.
So, I mean, that must be a whale, isn't it?
What?
It must be a...
Must be something like a whale. Yeah, I don't know what it was. But
well, the thing is, if there's a whale there must be fish.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, whales don't eat fish, do they?
No, they eat vegetables, don't they?
Well, they eat plankton, don't they?
Well, they're vegetarians, aren't they? In the sea.
Well, they eat plankton, which is microscopic, sort of, very, very tiny sort of fish, not fish that we know here.
Well, I think they like seaweed as well.
They probably do, but I don't.
I quite like seaweed.
Salty, they're tasty, salty. I want to put salt on my own food rather than have it already there.
Well, that's true, yeah. So, it's gone off now. Obviously, it hit your boat underneath and then went off, didn't it?
Yeah, but I'm looking around.
Are you stable? Are you?
Sorry, me? No, I'm never stable, me. Oh, come on, man. Anyone knows me knows I ain't stable.
I'm sure all your mates are missing you in the local pheasant and duck or whatever it's called, or the ducking ship or whatever it's called. Your pub you used to go to in Mega Giffy. Mega Gissy. What did I say? Mega Giffy. Well, I think that's next door to Mega Gissy, isn't it?
That's almost sounded like mine's a spliffy.
Yes, mine's a spliffy, yes. Well, I'm sure a lot of that goes on in Mega Giffy.
Well, quite possibly. I did hear something like that. A conversation the other day like that. Anyway, I hate talking like that, putting up for the tourists and things like that.
Crikey, you changed your voice all of a sudden. Is that your posh? I'm a posh trawler man voice.
No, that's my posh. I'm on land and I'm in the pub and we're entertaining these stupid habits that come down every time, yeah.
Well, you don't want many of them down at the moment because they're all come down with CVs, weren't they? Looking for jobs.
Well, I have to practice, you see. Anyway, let's get back to normal, shall we?
Yes.
Well, you don't know where we are. Be quite honest. Right? Just there, look on the screen, and hang on, there's an island. There's an island coming up.
Is there?
There. Oh.
Can you see that? Can you see that on your scanner?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, it's coming up now. I can see it.
Is it a big one?
Limited, Dennis. Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's just coming up as an island because they're just coming up. Hang on, it's got a ground.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Well, that came up quite quick, didn't it?
Yeah, well, it's the sandbanks. See, you can't see the sandbanks. And we sanded, we grounded a bit, so we just get out with Dave. And Dave, stay there. Look after the ship. So if anyone gets on the ship, like, you know, you show yourself, they're going to run away, you know.
Well, of course they are. They'd be scared because they see a ghost.
Right, Dave, too, you come with me. Right. It's only about 2 foot deep water, so...
Well, you want to take it steady because you got any weapons with you?
Weapons? We don't need no weapons.
Well, you don't know what you're going to come across, do you?
No. Oh, no, we don't need no weapons. I've got Dave, too, here, and I.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah.
So, wait, here we go. Get on the island, on the beach, and let's get out to this tree. Dave, you look the other way. I need to pee.
So what can you see?
No, I need to pee.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's better.
So,
All that water, you see.
well, yeah, of course, it plays havoc with your with your.
You just have a look around. Well, there don't seem to be any light on the beach anyway. You know, there must be all bloody down lockdown, I expect.
Is it palm trees?
No, ain't no palm trees. It's a strange dead looking trees. They all look dead, all down the side of the beach.
Is there any buildings?
What, sorry?
Is there any buildings?
No buildings.
Oh, right. So you've got a dead forest in front of you. That sounds rather dubious to me.
Well, in front of it, yeah, it looks like, I don't know where it is, the back. I mean, I just landed on the beach and it's all edified, you know, and I'm looking as far as I can see, and the tide's most of the way out. We had to
Well, you had to paddle a bit, didn't you?
like the shoreline where time to come in, like, and it's all dead.
All right.
Around it, so we're gonna spend some time and go and explore. I expect.
Well, yeah. Well, it'd be good to catch up with you next time because you probably would have built a hut and stuff by then, wouldn't you? Hello. Hello. Hello.
You still there?
Yeah, yeah. I said it'd be good to catch up with you next time because you might have found people, or you might have built yourself a hut.
I might have done. I might be like Robinson Crusoe, or oh bloody hell! You remember that? I remember.
I remember that.
Orange with the Irish young God here. That's going back in late 60s, and that Robinson Crusoe, that theme tune used to haunt me for years.
Yeah, that and White Horses.
The black and white one, you know, the old dump one.
I know that and that other program called White Horses. Ride White Horses.
Yeah, I remember that, but that Robinson Crusoe there, I mean, it haunt me, that gig, and that's still the best I've ever seen.
Wow.
You know, I've seen plenty of that sort of thing, but the barrenness, the music of it, you know, it's just used to add to that. People who listen to it, you know, look back in the 1960s, the 60s and 70s, and look out for Robinson Crusoe.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a French thing, I think it was, with English subtitles, but the music was so barren as well, and so well done, even back then.
Wow. Hey, you know your music as well, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
So we would do is we would catch up with you very soon to see what's going on your island.
Yes, we will. And what we do is, they will get hang on. Dave wants a word.
Dave wants a word.
Yeah,
This must be the first time ever on radio I'm going to talk to a ghost.
I think it must have been I don't know what's going on there. I think he's trying to get a right voice for it because it's strange.
He is a bit strange, isn't he?
Yeah, Dave was still on the board boat, but Dave is stranger, is it?
Well, he's got a very posh voice. That's not a sailor's voice, is it?
It's just one of those things given to there.
All right. Then you're a ghost.
Yeah, well, I found out just recently I'm a ghost. I am. Yes.
And what's it like being a ghost?
Well, still getting used to it. I mean, I was the Vice Admiral Lindley Doubledore.
Right.
Yeah. And so, basically getting used to it, and so I've had to change my tune and I had to change myself. And, it is a little bit different trying to get used to the sort of terminology and all that sort of thing of 300 years later.
Bloody hell.
And also, that's it with a common mission, man. Not normally, but these must. Wait, come here, come here. You're telling me no use bloody bollocks, are you? Don't sit down here, and you just stay there. And wait a minute, because I'll have a word with Mr. Clay.
Well, he sounds very interesting.
He comes out with a little story that he was like a rear admiral or sort of thing. He was an admiral.
Really?
Yeah, I know. But we can't verify it out here.
Well, no, of course you can't. Well, you might find someone on the island that's attached to him.
The only thing attached to him is his bloody asshole.
Well, I'm going to let you explore your island with him, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you two come up with.
Yeah, I'll let you know next weekend.
Yes, you let us know the ongoing saga of Captain Hadit and Dave too.
Absolutely, we go, and who knows what we might find on this island?
Well, I can imagine, yes.
I don't know what we're, but we know.
Well, look, you take care, and it'd be very interesting to see what you come up with, what you see.
Yeah, certainly will. Yeah, hang on. Oh, gotta go. Something's happening in the woods.
All right.
See you next week, yeah? Right.
All right.
Right.
Well, you take it steady. We'll speak to you next week.
Yeah, speak to you next Sunday,
Mate. Doctor? He's not a doctor. What am I talking about? Captain Hadit on a strange island out at the sea. We don't know where he is, and he's got ghosts with him. I'll tell you what, you don't get anywhere else but here on the Inview. I'll tell you. My thanks to all the guests tonight. It's been absolutely amazing. We've run over as normal, but that's normal practice for ourselves. Don't forget to tune in on Thursday night. And don't forget to subscribe, like, or share this. If you subscribe, you'll know when I'm on all the time anyway. It's a mad show. We do mad things, but your show comes on Thursday when you can have your say. I'll be putting out on Facebook and all over the place so you can have your say on many subjects, and I look forward to seeing you on Thursday. Have a great week out there, and again next Sunday as well. So have a fantastic week. Stay safe, and I'll see you on Thursday night. Night to everyone.